Hello, welcome to Directly to You. It's the 169th episode, dude. Nice. Yeah, you did it this time. You did it.
I'm gonna pause already from that. I was on a work call and so a client was like, yeah, there's a couple of rows here that's like 69, and just kept on going. And like, but under my breath, I couldn't. Nice. Just like, very professional about it. But I mean, how professional can it be? I guess.
Yeah.
But it was a fun time.
Hey, it's all relative. You can support this show and this channel and we didn't even say who we are. I'm AJ of fanatixfour. I'm joined by Parker of fanatixfour. You can support us both in this channel and all that we do, including this podcast called Directly to You, by going to youtube.com/fanatixfour or twitch.tv/fanatixfour. Exactly. It's almost like I planned that. Give them $4.99, and it doesn't even have to be yours. If you're on Twitch, you could take it out of Jeff Bezos's perch.
We're doing great.
What am I doing? I can't speak. Anyway, you can give us Jeff Bezos's money by linking your Amazon account if you have Amazon Prime to your Twitch account, or if your grandma has Amazon Prime, or your uncle, or your dog for some reason, and you get a free subscription. All you got to do is remember to renew it. In exchange for that, you get emotes, you get loyalty badges, you get free Switch keys from time to time, you get access to our supporters only Discord, where you can join us when we record this live. It's a good old time. You get to make comments about when we say something wrong that you don't agree with, or when we say something right that you do agree with. Who knows, man? Time's a flat circle. I don't know what that has to do with anything, but I mean, it has to do with the fact that you're watching it live. That made sense. It made sense in retrospect. I corrected it. I made it make sense. Yeah. Thank you, me. But anyway, we play video games. Are you playing video games? What video games are you playing?
I am. But first, whatever, sure. I'll get into video games and I'll come back to my anecdote later. I played a little bit more Skyward Sword, and I'm now in the third area, which pretty slow going, all things considered, but that's where I'm at. The third area, and it's deserty and stuff. And this seems to be the temple that like is pretty notorious in Skyward Sword of like, there's some time shifty
that's stuff. The opposite. It's the opposite of the other one that people hate in Ocarina. The desert and the water. Yeah, it's poetic. They probably did that on purpose.
Oh, I remember I had two anecdote things. One I'm saving for later anyway, for no good reason. The other one, when you rhymed earlier, I had this realization a couple days ago that probably hundreds of thousands of kids for the rest of time will come up with the phrase, I'm a poet and I didn't even know it, by themselves. And it is never going to be original or funny, even if they come up with it by themselves. Like every time I was saying this to Ashley, I was like, man, it would suck to be that kid, because they're like, whoa, look what I did. And any adult's going to be like, cool. Nice.
Nice. You did it.
Yeah. So poor kids,
I mean, that's the experience of being a kid. It's like, yo, I just walked. It's like, I've been doing that for 20 plus years, you idiot.
Yeah. Now I remember making up a joke as a kid. The joke was, where's the worst place to have a picnic? Antarctica. That was the joke. But I remember telling somebody, they're like, you didn't make that up. I was like, yeah, I did. They're like, no, you didn't. I read it in a joke book. And I was like, you know what? I don't care. My brain made it happen, and your joke book stole from me. I mean, so I'm owed royalties.
You made it up. Somebody just made it up before you did, and you weren't aware of it.
Exactly.
So like, that's just how that's how it happens, dude.
Yep. Otherwise, playing more Islanders, that's going well. My second run was going great, and then just couldn't quite eke it out. And on my third run now, and I'm doing much better at it because I'm like maxing out every island as I'm going. So having a good time. But yeah, it's a fun time. And then otherwise, I popped in a little bit to, we hung out with some friends, and they're playing Animal Crossing. So we showed them our islands. Nice. They showed us their islands. So I popped in Animal Crossing for a minute. I played a little bit of Super Mario Maker 2 the other day because I was like, I don't know, I just want something to like.
I forgot that game existed.
I know, seriously. Like, I mean, I didn't forget because I still watch Super Mario Maker 2 stuff every once in a while. Yeah. But I still have thoughts about that game. But it's fun. Yeah, it's just went through, played a little bit of Endless, and realized that like I'm still not great at that game, but that's fine. I think there's so many different iterations of Mario in terms of like his physics are just a little bit different in different games. And so I have to get used to like Mario Maker 2's versions of Mario's physics. Cause like, yeah, that kind of thing.
But it's weird because like they're like that to make it easy to get used to, but because it's like a recreation of games that have existed for decades at this point, it makes it harder to adjust for a lot of people because they're so used to the actual version of those physics rather than this like equalization of all their physics together. It's very strange.
It's true. Oh, one other thing, and I played the demo for WarioWare Get It Together.
So yo, it's hype.
Yeah,
I talked about it last time. So
it's true. Yeah, I think my only question with it, like the minute-to-minute gameplay is fun, and I enjoyed it a lot. I think my question is going to be like, what's the packaging around the whole? I mentioned it briefly in the video, but like, I don't know, like what all that looks like menu-wise, and like how you're going to be playing those different games. And so that's the question, and from there, should be fun. The end. That's all the games I'm playing.
I'm playing Unite and Smash.
Never would have guessed.
Yeah, Unite is so frustrating because it's like I would be freaking like it's either I carry or I carry and I lose. And it's very upsetting because it's like, yo, what are y'all doing? Like freaking get Dreadnought, and if you get Dreadnought, we win, period. If you get Dreadnought, you win the game.
Really? So bad. Even more than Zapdos?
Even more than Zapdos, because Dreadnought allows you to say no to your opponents getting Zapdos, because you get a shield and you get experience. So like that already puts you in a position to take other objectives faster than your opponents would. Yeah. So you can like just in theory take everything. Like you get the first Dreadnought, you kill the team, which gives you more experience. They have to come back and recover. You go and either drop your points or you rotate to get Rotom. You get Rotom, you get the 20 points, you can score again. You stall and like kill them until Dreadnought comes out again. You kill Dreadnought again, and it snowballs and rip. And then you could just camp out Zapdos and say like either stop them from getting Zapdos, or if it looks like Zapdos is about to die, kill Zapdos before they do. Or even if they kill Zapdos, kill them for killing Zapdos, and then Zapdos was pointless, so it's like, but all that starts at Dreadnought. And because so many people are like, oh, everybody's going after Dreadnought, I can go and score while the opponent is distracted. It's like, no, you would have been the difference between winning that team fight, but because you left, we lacked the amount of damage to take out the other team, and now they have Dreadnought, and now we're effed. So it's like
playing the short game or the long game kind of thing. Like, you can eke out a couple extra points right this second, but then in the long run, that's gonna come back to bite you.
So we're creeping to Splatoon territory where I just get to the point where I'm like, I'm done with this game. Because I can't win by myself. I can only do but so much. So yeah, I was playing Smash Brothers. I was playing Smash Brothers right before this with Mars, and I always knew that Pyra and Mythra are dumb, but Pyra and Mythra are dumb. Like those characters are stupid.
Like just broken, or
they're very broken. Like so
interesting.
Like, so there's a character, Sheik. Freaking
Smash.
She's girl boy Zelda in disguise. But yeah, so Sheik is a very good character, but people that are bad don't know that, because it's like you have to be good at the game to secure a stock. You have to go for kill confirms. You can't just be like, I'm going to throw out this forward smash and you'll die.
Right.
Because like her damage output and her kills are good if you know what hit needs to go into what hit to get the kill. Pyra and Mythra are that, but if you're like, oh, I want to get the easy kill, you just go Pyra and you dash attack and they die at 90. So it's like you get to play the Mythra gameplay, which is Sheik, of like her existence is set play, which set play is like, I have this option that forces you to either guess or get hit. Like, you're just going to get hit. It's a 50-50. It's like, okay, a perfect example is her dash attack. The existence of her dash attack is a 50-50, because it's like, I can dash attack and you'll get hit, and then you might get hit with another one immediately after that, or you can try to shield and I'll just grab you, and then you're at the same result anyway. Every other character, if you don't have to react in the same way that you do. Like, well, you can. That's the thing. You can react, but because she's so fast and she has a sword, you can't. You got to guess. You have to guess. So like, after playing because I play against people that play the character, but most of them don't play her in a way that abuses her strengths. They play her in the way that it's like, oh, well, I learned this combo, so I'm going to do that. Like, they're like going for bread and butters rather than abusing the character's stats to do whatever you want. And like, character's stupid, character dumb. So yeah, that was my realization today, not even this week, but Pyramith are stupid. I might have to pick them up as a secondary just because.
No, I mean, that's fine. Because of all of the characters, I'd be probably most likely roughly in this order to pick up Pyra and Mithra, probably then Byleth. And I don't know past that, honestly, maybe none. Maybe some other ones. I just can't.
Byleth is like the opposite. Byleth bad.
I mean, again, that's, I'd only be picking them up for
just because
just the funnies. But it's nice that they're good too,
But like MK Leo, who's the best player in the world, he also plays Byleth, but he's having, like, every time he picks up a character, people look at that and they're like, yo, this character's a god. Look at what MK Leo does. It's like, no, MK Leo's a god. Character sucks. Like, he just can abuse anything that's good about most characters. Like, he's not good with every character. Like, for example, his Pokemon trainer sucks. Like, his Pokemon trainer is garbage. But if the character has like a certain amount of tools that he can abuse his gameplay, like, he's really good with spacing. Byleth is a perfect character if you're good with spacing. And plus, it's good that people are scared of MK Leo. If your opponent is scared of you and you're Byleth, it's game. It's game, because I'm going to break your shield and you're going to die at 40. So it's like, it's a game, dude.
It is a game. I believe it.
True.
And that's the games we're playing. Here's the random anecdote before we get into the news. It's not even an anecdote. It's just a realization that I want everybody to be aware of with me. I realized yesterday, maybe this is just really dumb, and this is like a high thought kind of a thing, even though I was just driving. But the alphabet, 26 letters, whatever, it's in that order, and we all know it in that order for no good reason. Like, there's no...
What are you talking about? We know it in that order because of the song.
I mean, exactly. I mean, like, it's in that order, and like that, it feels like, that's just the way of the world is, that it's in that order, but like, it doesn't have to be for any reason at all, other than just like kind of agreeing with people, and like for bullet point lists that are like A, B, C, D, and making points, and for tier lists. That's pretty much it. And like,
but otherwise, you can say that about numbers too.
Oh yeah. As far as what they represent, for sure. That is like, if you have one thing, whether that thing looks
like there's no reason why one has to be called one and look like one. It could be 7. It could be 12. Like,
it's just like, that was such a weird thing to think about, that like, honestly. So Alec in the comments just said, I'm gonna sing the alphabet in QWERTY order from now on. That was the thing that made me think. I wasn't driving, I was sitting at my computer desk. It was when Ezra was watching me type, and I was like, what if she just learned the alphabet in QWERTY order? You could, like, it wouldn't be helpful in the world, because things would happen.
Like, if she gets pulled over and they like try to like do a sobriety test, she's screwed. She's screwed, because like, she might actually do it, but in QWERTY, and she's done. Like,
the one like genius in the back of the cop car already that was there from the last arrest is like, I just realized she's been saying it backwards QWERTY the whole time. Like, so there you go, everybody. I hope your mind is even a little bit as blown as mine was, but probably not. It's the kind of thing that you're like, whoa, and everybody else is like, you're really dumb. But
that's a high thought.
I mean, checks out. And on that note, Metroid is coming out soon, and Nintendo's like really blowing this game up, and it looks good.
On the topic of the high thoughts, Metroid.
Exactly. So yeah,
whoever came up with freaking Metroid was definitely high at the moment.
I mean, yes,
I'm jacking it. That's true. That's a fact.
That's we got there eventually, just retrospectively we made it work.
I thought that we had always known Pyra. Yeah, I mean, like I said, I always knew his character was good, but this character is dumb. Like, this character is free. Like, that's the thing. Like, that's the difference. It's kind of like the Pikachu realization. Like, I always knew Pikachu was good, but until I like use Pikachu, I believe the propaganda that the character was hard, and the character is like the opposite end of that. Like, of the top 3, Pyra, Mythra are the easiest ones by a light year to use.
Who's the third one then?
The other Pikachu top 3 is Pikachu, Pyra, Mythra, and well, I would say the order is probably Joker, Pikachu,
Joker,
Pyra, Mythra.
Of course, yeah.
But Joker's the other one, yeah. But yeah, no, Metroid.
Yeah. Did you watch the trailer that came out today?
I just watched it.
Nice. So okay, I don't even know what exactly I want to talk about this, but like, taking a step back, when Metroid Dread was first announced, I was like, whoa, this game looks awesome, and hopefully they do the marketing well, all that kind of stuff, and it goes well. And the more and more they do, and the more they show the game, the more it's like they really invested in this game, both in terms of marketing, but also like all the CG stuff and like, or not, but all the cutscenes and stuff. Like, it's definitely, like a big game,
like
to
a
where
AAA.
Investment. So like, what's the upper limit of long term of like what Nintendo's thinking? Obviously, Metroid Prime 4 is the only other confirmed thing, but like, I don't know. Let's just talk Metroid.
I don't know if this is like them being like, oh, we're all in on Metroid, and Metroid is definitely going to be a thing for us moving forward. I think this is them trying to make it a thing, like they haven't already decided that, okay, Metroid Dread's coming out, then Metroid Prime 4, and then Metroid's back. It's like Metroid Prime 4 is coming out, and we want to give this series as good a chance as possible for that to be a thing. Like, it could go either way. Like, if this game flops and Metroid Prime 4 doesn't do well, Metroid might go away for another decade. But like, they're giving it a fair shot rather than like actively sabotaging it like they tend to do with a lot of like their dormant franchises, I think. So
yeah, I think that's probably about what I'm thinking as well, that like, that they're testing it out, but then with this one specifically being like as good a use case as possible. And like, obviously, Metroid Prime 4, that is already confirmed, and we've been talking about how they're gonna go all in. If they're going all in on a side-scrolling 2D game, then they're gonna even more so going all in on Metroid Prime 4.
Yeah, but like, also they already have been. Like, I don't know why,
with all the hires and stuff, a retro, like
this whole development cycle is like Zelda level. Which has always been a series that they were like all in on. I don't know why people are just realizing, they're like, oh shoot, Nintendo's really trying with Metroid. It's like, yeah, they delayed Prime 4 but like, it was supposed to come out forever ago, and we're like 3 years removed from when we assumed it was going to come out at this point. Like, so like, the fact that they're willing to do that, not only delay it but shift it completely to another team, hire more people for that team specifically, is insane levels of commitment for a series like that. They really want this. They either really want this game and series to succeed, or they really believe in the vision of this game and the series
as like at least a prestige piece, if nothing else.
Exactly.
Like, for sure. I think like, okay, so the two things that I'm curious to is like, what do the sales end up being for this game? Because the more I see of it, the more I feel like there's going to be people like there's always people that buy a game, they're like, that wasn't actually for me, shouldn't have bought it, kind of a thing. And so there will be some people where that's the case. They see maybe just even the CG trailers and don't watch any gameplay, or just see the promotional material or whatever, don't see the gameplay, pick it up, because they're not watching directs and things, they're just on the eShop and see it or something like that. So there will be some people that do that, but like the more that I see of it being just a big budget game and stuff, the more I feel like people are sold. I saw several comments on the trailer that people were like, man, I didn't think I was going to be into this game, but like, I think I'm going to pick it up, kind of thing. I was like, all right.
Yeah. And I think this game is going to like not be a slow burn, but it's going to sell like a Nintendo game. It's going to be like a long tail. I think like first burst, like I think within the first couple months, it's probably going to be in the like 3 to 5 million unit range, I think. But when it's all said and done, I could see this selling 8 to 10, if it's as good as it looks like it is. And if people like Metroid Prime 4, like if that game is as big as we think it's going to be, I could see that
people come into this like, retrospectively.
Like the Link's Awakening, Breath of the Wild sort of effect. I can see that being the case here, even more so, because I think Metroid is a more like widely marketable game than Zelda traditionally. Like Breath of the Wild, I think is more marketable than the Metroid formula that we know of right now. But I think that especially for the Western audience, which tends to buy games, it usually makes up the bulk of sales. I think that Metroid has a better chance of winning that audience over than Zelda does in its traditional formula. So I could see this Dread outselling Link's Awakening just on that, let alone if Prime 4 does the same thing for this game relatively that Link's Awakening, that Breath of the Wild did for Link's Awakening.
Yeah. And I think, as far as especially the Western audience and all that kind of stuff too, depending on the multiplayer aspect, if there's any in Prime 4, which I'm pretty confident that there at least could be, but probably would be, that would be a big way to get people in the door as well. Is if that's done well, even if it's not like, I don't think it should be the first and foremost thing by any means, but if it's at least even like 75% as substantial or whatever.
Well, at the same time, it kind of depends on how they do it. Because like it's kind of indistinguishable, or at least it was with Halo. What was their focus when they started?
That's true. Yeah.
Because like if they did it in the way that like Pokemon, for instance, did it, where it's built in a way that like people like you don't even know, like they don't even realize that. It's like, oh, this game was designed for this, but it's like if that like the battle system, not battle system, but like the combat in the game is good enough to translate to like a competitive sort of multiplayer thing, and like they translate that to like the campaign, then I could see the multiplayer being a big part of like both their development and the success of this game. But I don't know if that's where their attention is placed. I think that like best case scenario, given like how Nintendo makes games, is that this will be Last of Us, where it's going to have like, it has a multiplayer, the like diehard fans of the multiplayer love it, but it's not good enough to win everybody over. I can see it being a Naughty Dog game in that way. I could see this game just in general being a Naughty Dog game. That's what I think that they're aiming for. Is like, it's the game that's like, like game of the year, like Game Awards bait. It's like the video game equivalent of Oscar bait,
right?
But also the relatively negative side of like, there's a multiplayer and it's kind of half baked, but you like the game, so you'll probably like this.
Yeah. If if it keeps anybody entertained that plays through the campaign and wants more to do, or if it gets people in the door that don't care about single player stuff but are interested in the world, then like that's all it really needs to do. As long
or even
as
the crowd that's like, this game's only 8 hours, that's not worth $60. That sort of thing.
Yeah, which I don't even know.
I don't think it's gonna be 8 hours. It's gonna be like probably like 20, maybe even 25 hours.
Not having really played any Metroids, like I don't know how that typically pans out as far as how long those are.
Into like 12-ish.
Yeah.
Well, at least like Prime, like Metroid Prime. The old Metroid games are probably way like lower than that.
Yeah, it's probably, if it's not lower than that, it's because you have no idea where you're going.
Yeah.
It's because of bad signal, at least in the first game. But like, yeah, you can beat. I mean, the world records, at least for Super Metroid, is like under an hour.
Metroid Prime 3, how
like,
long to beat?
Yeah.
What? Oh, okay. No. Yeah. So that falls around. I was looking at the wrong number. I was looking at polled, and it said 90. I was like, there's no way that game is 90 hours. But the main story, the average is 13 hours.
Okay.
Almost 14 hours. Main plus extra is 15 and a half. Completionist is about, well, it's 17 hours and 47 minutes. So yeah, I could see this being in the 20-hour range. Unless they go super hard on set pieces and animations, in which case I could see it being a little shorter than that. But either way, it's going to be over 10 free.
Yeah.
So I think that's long enough for a game like this, but it could still be in the territory of like, I don't want to pay $60 for a game that's 12 hours when Breath of the Wild is like 50, you know, like.
Yeah. I think the thing too is like, even if there's no multiplayer in Metroid Prime 4, I feel like as much, if these two things succeed, Metroid Dread, Metroid Prime 4, then like there's a future for at least some spin-offs of some sort. Cause like they've done other Federation Forces spin-off, Metroid Prime Pinball, I guess. And then other M kind of in terms of genres. It's not a spin-off because it's canon, but that kind of stuff. But yeah, I think that would be interesting to see, is like what direction do they go in terms of like spin-offs and stuff. Because even like, Zelda's definitely had some over the years, but definitely not as many as Mario, or it's.
Yeah, I think a lot of that is also because they're like, it's kind of like the Metroid thing where it's like, if you zoom out, there's a lot of spin-offs, but they're only spin-offs in the sense that they're like different gameplay wise, but they're still like canon to the story. So that kind of like makes it like, it's not really a spin-off because they're canon, like
Four Swords Adventures, like, yep, but it's a game. Yeah,
exactly. So like that's the only thing that separates them from, like, if Mario Kart was like, this game's story is canon to, like, like, yeah, is that a spin-off at that point? That's the only separating factor there, I think.
Yeah, man, I don't know. I'm excited. I think Metroid Dread's looking great. I'm curious about the story bits, just how it pans out. Like, I only know bits and pieces about the Metroid story, and a lot of it's just from watching Rob's videos talking about it.
That's the only thing that I'm kind of like, and not necessarily for me, because I have people like, I could just DM Max and be like, what is happening?
And it sounds like they're introing people pretty well in the game. So hopefully that's the case.
But I wonder if that is going to be the case in the game, because I think that that's a bad way to catch people up. It's like, you could have just watched the YouTube videos. I think that's bad. Because it's true, you could do like go and be like, get caught up on the YouTube video, but like you should be able to catch, or you should have to catch people up in the video game, especially for a series like this.
Well, I think that, and that's what I was saying, is I think in the Treehouse they were saying that within the game there's some cutscenes that show stuff, because like my understanding, I could be totally wrong, let me know if you're a Metroid fan and I'm just wrong, but that like probably as far as story beats go, there's probably like 2 or 3 major ones per game. Not a whole lot of stuff in terms of like, it's more about exploring and the experiences and stuff like that, but to where it sounds like you could catch people up on the general lore within a couple of minutes, at least enough to kind of understand like, what's the X Parasite, what are Metroids, what are their purpose, what's the Chozo, and then what's the Galactic Federation. Once you know that, it's kind of like, you good, you got it figured out, and then at least enough to get going. But in the same way that, I don't know, in Hollow Knight, you get the vague idea of the world and what's going on throughout the game, and even kind of at the beginning, but then like if you dig in deeper, there's a lot more stuff there to kind of uncover, but you don't necessarily need to know it to at least understand the story beats. Hopefully that's the case. Yeah. It looks fun. It'll come out in just over a month now. So Neato burrito. But what did come out just this week is No More Heroes 3.
Yeah.
And I haven't played it. And
Same.
You haven't played it, and I don't know that either of us will.
I'm kind of sad about it though. I'm kind of sad about it because like I've been talking about it for forever. It's like I want to understand, but at this point, it feels like it's one of those series that people like in spite of the series being bad. You know, it's like it feels like. And I know that this might hurt some people's feelings. I know this might be a Trev Zelda moment, but it feels like a Kojima game where like a lot of it is bad. But you like really love like specific aspects of like how weird he is. So like you're like, it's fine that it's bad. I love Death Stranding because Kojima's weird, dude. Like it feels like that. Like you love the game in spite of how bad it is. And I
know that's the kind of thing that like I'm quicker to get over than you are, and even I'm like, I don't know if I just don't have time, you know, like I don't know.
Yes, somebody needs to say no.
Alec, that's a good point. So I mean, it reminds me a little bit too of like a lesser case of like Deadly Premonition, and how apparently that's kind of the same way, where it's like it's quirky and it's got, you know, some silly stuff going on, but some of it is like, is this intentional jank or is this just,
which is still bad? It's bad if you intentionally make a thing that's bad and be like, I did that on purpose though. It's still bad. It's like the freaking Uncharted thing of like them using the same joke over and over again, or the same beat, the same like gameplay beat of you sliding down a hill, and then they joke about that and they're like, I'm sliding so much I'm going to get gravel in my pants. That doesn't make it good. That doesn't make it any better. It just makes it worse. Honestly, the fact that you acknowledge the laziness and that was your way to try to get around the fact that you're being lazy. It's like
what even was I gonna say? I don't know. Yes, that's all. It's hard to know. Like, I don't know. I would need to know from somebody who's like Rob or somebody else who is specifically a No More Heroes fan. Like, but be honest, is somebody else gonna be?
I need somebody
who's not a fan. That's
not even not a fan. Like not necessarily somebody who's actively not a fan, but somebody that just likes
neutral party.
Yeah, exactly. Because I can see Rob falling in love with the things that are good about the game enough to not care about the things that are bad.
Right.
And I don't think that those are the type of people that I would go to. Like, I wouldn't go to me. If I didn't love Pokemon as much as I did, I wouldn't go to me to judge a Pokemon game. Because like, I'm going to tell you what I don't like about Pokemon games. I'm very vocal about the things I don't like about Pokemon games. But I'm still like, I play it anyway because it's Pokemon, dude. Pikachu. There's Charizard in this game. You know, like that's not helpful for me. For somebody that is like trying to come to you to be like, should I spend $60 on this video game? If you're like, it sucks, but like I play it anyway. Like that doesn't tell me like I'm still left here with like, but you play it anyway. So like, is there something that good about it, or is it this personal thing of like, maybe I think Charizard looks dumb. Maybe I'm stupid. You know, maybe I'm dumb and I think Charizard looks stupid, and I don't think that Charizard alone is worth $60. Maybe I'm an idiot. If I'm stupid, then Charizard wouldn't be a good enough answer, you know?
I think so. I remember what I was going to say before. It was that like, as far as things being janky and all that, there's an element to where if it services the thing, if it serves something better, for example, back when YouTube videos first started happening and people were doing like quick cuts in the middle things, I feel like it felt janky at first. Like, why are people doing these like quick
jump cuts? Jump
cuts. Just between, you know, like instead of like fading things together, making it look like this was one seamless take or whatever. It was, you know, but it served the thing that it's doing. And so I feel like you can do that in some games where like sometimes it's like it's janky, but then you can see how it benefits something else. But then a lot of times that's not the case.
See, so because like the thing about jump cuts is like they're only janky at face value.
Yeah.
But the fact that you look at a jump cut and even think that it's janky is the purpose of the
right.
jump cut, because it resets your brain of like, oh shoot, I need to pay attention again, whether you know it or not. Yeah. But something in a video game being janky is not going to like have if anything, it's going to, like, for most people that aren't actively excusing it, it's going to make you want to play it less.
Yeah.
You know, like it's not looking at this video and being like, oh shoot, okay, I have to pay attention to what they're saying, because the primal part of my brain reset my attention. You know,
I mean, I guess a better example of when of some of the only times that kind of stuff can be good in games is when it's something where like in Breath of the Wild, where there's unintended consequences from this thing interacting with this thing, and the developer's like, I didn't know they could do that, and technically like it's 100% janky. The fact that you can, you know, fly because you magnesis like something that you're on, or that exactly, like those things are janky by nature of like they shouldn't work, but they do, and they're great. But like if it's hindering you from doing the thing you want to do instead of being something that's adding some kind of benefit, then like so,
if it's jank that punishes you, that's the problem. And
so that's the question. Like I don't know what that's like in this game. I haven't read reviews enough to just know, but I've seen that they're, you know, on all both over sides the place. Of it.
Yeah,
so,
like GameSpot gave it like a 4 or something like that. I'm like, damn.
Yeah, I think IGN gave it a 6, which I don't have as many ties to GameSpot.
And IGN Japan gave it a 9, which I know that like the different like IGNs like globally are not actually IGN. They're just like licensees.
I mean, in either way, it's just a person. You know, like when
true.
IGN gives it a 6, it's just some guy at IGN who's the one who reviewed it, who gave it a 6 to some girl at IGN. You know, right? But yeah, still, you know, it stands to reason that you would think the same website would have similar values, and obviously
like they're the not necessarily the opinions, but the what I'm trying to think of the term that like the rationale, not necessarily like I like this game, so it's a 10. That's not enough to make something a 10, you know, or at least it wouldn't be for us, right? Like we're still going to, even if we love something, we usually we don't review games, but when we're being like, I recommend this or I don't recommend this, we think about would the target audience like this game, you know, or directs. Is an even better example. When we talk about how good a direct is, it's like I might not want to buy any games in this direct, but how much of the Nintendo audience that's watching these directs would buy X amount of games from this direct, you know? Is IGN judging from that standpoint, and IGN Japan is on the other like end of it, you know, like is IGN Japan like, it's more important to me if I like the game, not if people will like this game, but I like this game for my personal reasons, so I'm giving it a 9. Whereas like IGN Japan, I mean IGN Prime is
mother
like,
brain IGN.
People probably won't like this game, so it's a 6.
Yeah, that's hard to say. But it's a good point. In the end, do you think you're going to end up picking up this game?
I don't think so, because like I feel like the reason why I was like even interested in this game was because it was going to be like, all right, well, this will be like the modern take on the series and maybe make it easier to like get the quirky end, you know. But it seems like this game, I've seen fans of the series be like, this is a step back for the series. And if you like,
I've seen people say it's
games,
like No More Heroes 1.5.
And that's like, if you like the old games, and I've been told by Rob to not because they're janky and like you don't want to go back in time era wise and play a Wii game that it's very much so a Wii TM game. If it goes back from that, I don't know if I want to play this game.
I mean, alternatively, there's a whole video in there for you for like
for what, to talk about how bad this game is.
No, just like No More Heroes 3 as approached by someone who, you know, doesn't. I'm sure there are plenty.
So in other words, you're saying making a video about how bad this game is.
That's the point. No,
it's Kirby.
I mean, similarly, you know, there's games that I know that I want to play that I haven't picked up, so I'll probably go for those first. And then, maybe we'll see what happens. I doubt I will pick this up intentionally, but I do wish that it were the thing that we were hoping it was, which is like a revitalization and stuff like that.
Because like, I mean, I talk about this all the time with like platforms where they're like the default. I feel like the default, and this is like a defense for not wanting to spend money. But like the default is like, I don't want this thing, period.
Right.
I want to buy one thing, and that's what I'm going to do. But for me, I want games and platforms to make me want the thing. That's why I have a PlayStation 5, despite the fact that Sony hasn't been my favorite company for the past couple years, like, but they won me over with specific things that I want to play on their console that's not finished. And that's what I want from every game. So like, I see so many people love the No More Heroes series, and I'm like, I want to play this, but you're not letting me.
It seems like it would be a good candidate to have, or a bad candidate, but to have a demo on the eShop so that you can kind of, give it a try, find out, not you specifically, but like anybody can find out if it's for, like WarioWare, there's a bunch of games we talked about last week. Somebody gave a question of that kind of thing too. So I think, it would be a good candidate to get a demo on the eShop, but the eShop in and of itself is going across the world to a lot more places. This is the news. That is some news. Long story short, Nintendo eShop will launch soon, or will soon launch in Argentina, Colombia, Chile, and Peru. And it says very soon. In fact, we don't know how soon, but it says very soon. And that's awesome because there are a lot of places you just can't play games. I guess there's no eShop, and like you can import games, but it's expensive and there's taxes and stuff like that. So
what is it with like specifically Central America that Nintendo's like, nah?
I don't know. Yeah, maybe. Like, I'm Nintendo and Central America. I won't be able to find this out just by typing that in. So I found a Reddit post that seemed like it maybe could have an answer easily, but okay. Here. So this was 3 years ago. This is 2018. The question was, get out of there. I'm from Mexico, and sometimes I see people enjoying their Switch outside. What about Latin America? I know that Switch is quite expensive there. And somebody said, I'm from Argentina. Nintendo as a brand is and will always be popular everywhere. But honestly, most people only care about the PlayStation over here. It's all FIFA and Fortnite here. And gaming in general is pretty expensive, sadly. New games are almost $100 and in the biggest retail chains. Then again, we're struggling with inflation as usual. So I guess they got to get covered.
Yeah, that's also like, that's diagnosing the problem by stating the problem. Less so than like explaining why the problem exists, because like the reason why the games are more expensive there is because they don't actually have a presence there. So like you're paying for the fact that they don't have a presence, because they're shipping it elsewhere. Like Nintendo of America is in charge of the Latin American territory. So when you buy a game, you're basically importing the game from the US, which is going to cost you more money than buying it locally. For all
what's interesting though, thinking about this, I just realized, because that, and then the eShop though is kind of the opposite of that, in that it's an internet store, so it's not region locked and stuff like that. Yeah,
but it still kind of is. Right. Because then you're looking at stuff like tariffs, and like that's still technically in the US. It's based in the US, so you're paying for that.
Right. But like if I live in Colombia right now, before the eShop launches, I could get a US Switch from somewhere else, which again, would be expensive to get it shipped in and all that kind of stuff. But say I've got a friend who lives in the US and he's coming back and he's going to bring me a Switch. Right. Yeah. Could you just log in and then just use the North America one? And
you could, but how are you going to get the money for that?
Yeah, probably.
Like you still have to buy an
Amazon card.
Exactly. Like you have to go and you buy stuff off of Amazon or like a Play Asia or something like that, and then you're paying the tariffs that way. You know, so it's like either way, you're paying the extra money for using US currency on the eShop, whichever way you do it. It might be cheaper to do it that way, but it's still more money.
Yeah. Hopefully what this kind of thing does too, and I don't know, but is that like, you know, again, you're in Colombia, you get, they get their actual eShop and the prices are fixed based on what they, you know, should be in the region, as opposed to what the retailers are selling them for. And then because of that, the retailers will then mark them down equivalent so that it's, you know, within the same kind of
because otherwise
everybody's just going to buy digital and it won't matter anyway.
At that point. Exactly.
Yeah. So, but yeah, that's it's just fun stuff, you know.
Good.
On one hand, good for Nintendo, they get to be other places, but more
so just good for the people that don't have. Yeah, exactly. Because like for them, like they could access the games now, but it's just way more money.
Yeah,
it's not great.
Exactly. Yep. And as far as things going to other places, Bravely Default 2 is going to PC, and some people are maybe mad about that, but like, who even cares? You know, because you can play it on Switch still. It's not leaving. It's just funny. But yeah, it is the kind of thing that like with less context or whatever, I could see myself in, I don't know, 2017 or 2018 back more indoctrinated and like, that's annoying. It's a Switch exclusive.
I bought a Switch because I thought that I could only play it on the Switch.
Yeah. Whereas like I would never play it on PC anyway. So if it just came out on PC, I'd be like, that's a cool looking PC game.
Yeah. You know? I'm not buying a PC to play. I'm not playing this game. That's the thing. Like, I mean, that's like a difference in me as a person and how I consume media.
Yeah.
But like, I have access to a computer that is more than powerful enough to play a lot of these games. I just don't want to. Like, I much rather play it on my Switch.
Alec in the comments said more people playing it equals me getting a sequel.
True.
It's true. Yeah.
Facts.
I mean, it's great. I think also I was thinking about it, and like on one hand, part of me would think like Switch exclusive games going other places feels like it means it's I don't know, it's struggling as a console because they have to leave to go somewhere else, when really it means more the opposite of that. That it's like
so much that we're like, how can we sell?
Yeah,
you know, how much can we sell elsewhere if we put it there?
Yeah. I mean, and it's just the fact that like, you know, it means that they're getting deals at all to get exclusivity, which otherwise we just wouldn't get. We would get the games late is probably what would happen instead. Is on the Switch stuff would come after the fact. And because like Monster Hunter Stories 2, is that already on PC or is it coming later to PC? Monster Hunter Rise is going to be coming to PC or something like that. But like those are games that we could have just not gotten at all, you know. Simultaneous. Okay, for Stories 2, I think, and then Rise is coming later. So yeah, so I think it's just good stuff. Nice, got it. And yeah, that's fun times. You know, it just means we'll, like Alex said, we'll get some sequels. Speaking of sequels, in the world of Pokemon, as it opens up and becomes more next gen and stuff. Did you see this? I hadn't seen it until I was looking at articles, and then I was like, "Oh no, this is a perfect AJ thing." Okay,
this thing. Yeah, I did see. I saw. Hold on, wait.
You gonna share your screen?
Yeah, you can share it.
Okay, I'll share my screen.
I thought I didn't click on the link yet. I thought it was like a fan made thing, but yeah, no, I see what it is. I saw this.
So there was a game announced at Gamescom, which also, as an aside, Gamescom has even less of a Nintendo presence than it did some other years, because like some other years they'd have Treehouse stuff there anyway, and they don't have that this year. So like I barely even noticed the Gamescom happened.
I think the last time they did it was they showed
2018 Super Mario Party and stuff.
Yeah, it was like, I think they might have.
That's the last one I remember.
They showed Sword and Shield there too, I think.
Oh, okay.
Well, they didn't obviously they didn't premiere it there, but it was like, here's the first town of Sword and Shield.
Gotcha. Yeah,
they showed during Gamescom.
Yeah,
pretty sure.
Which, I mean, we'll talk about my video later, but I think especially the fact that they didn't show really anything there continues to confirm that like, yeah, they'll probably just have their normal September Direct, because that's the way they like to do things typically. But I'll press play on this. Oh, what's the actual game name? Is it Pearl Abyss or is that the
It's dope
Black Desert Online?
No, that's a different game.
Oh, Doki V.
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, the question is this what Pokemon should look like or whatever? I don't know. Before I give any opinions of sorts, what are your thoughts?
I mean, no. This is like try hard, like edgy like how to make insecure adults feel better about playing the game about an 11-year-old getting a magical pet. You know, like that is all, like where all those I think the best case scenario for Pokemon is that it looks more like a cartoon. You know, like not like how do we make cartoons look real, you know, but like make it look more like a cartoon, because this is just uncanny valley territory. I
mean, especially because like exactly, not all Pokemon would work in like Detective Pikachu, for example. You know, like the movie, not the game, because like they picked Pokemon for that movie that are like, okay, that they look pretty good. They also picked one or two that
they also picked Mr. Mime,
Gengar,
and Gengar.
I still think Mr. Mime was great, but he's awkward as all get out.
I mean, well, to be fair, that's Mr. Mime. Like, exactly. Like they did. But like Gengar, I think only Pokemon that they Pokemon being plural in this case, that they did wrong were Jigglypuff. Yeah, they made incorrect decisions there, because like Jigglypuff is like a balloon, but they're like, what if it's fur? You know. And Gengar, I think they dropped the ball.
Which honestly, I could see why they chose to do Jigglypuff the way they did, because otherwise it probably would have more the texture of Gengar, which was also painful. You know, it's just there's just too many Pokemon that like don't fit well in a more real.
Yeah, they weren't designed to be real.
Yeah, right.
So making them look real, is a bad idea.
So that said, I feel exactly that way about like I mean, this game looks beautiful. Like no arguments there, and it looks like it's fun to jump around and stuff for this game for sure. And they obviously they designed these monsters.
I can see this game not being good.
Yeah, I mean, it's entirely possible
like
too.
It definitely, it definitely looks like the type of game that's like, man, this is gorgeous, and like you actually play it, and it's like it feels kind of bad to play. Like I can definitely see that. I'm gonna try it. It looks sick. But I can see it going either way in terms of it's either going to be phenomenal or it's gonna suck. I don't think that there's an in between here.
Yeah, I think that the one thing that I would be happy to take from it would be the just kind of the world integration kind of thing, where it feels like, you know, it feels like you're part of this world. I mean, it looks like it's just this city. I don't know how big this world is, and I would want it to be maybe less like immediately fleshed out, but there be more of it than being like super dense, which is one place. So I mean, we'd find out about that, but I think that's something that like already Legend Arceus is moving in that direction, so I feel good about that.
Yeah, like the more I see these characters, like when I'm looking at the game in action and like the cameras behind the character, I'm like, this game looks great, and I wouldn't be like angry at a Pokemon game that looks like this. But whenever I see their faces, I'm like, yeah, no, never make Pokemon look like this.
Yeah,
because like in a cartoon that works, like the giant anime eyes, you know, it's like that looks great. But when you're trying to like make it look like real life, it's unsettling and nasty.
Yeah. So I mean, I think I agree with the stance you've always taken, which is that it should look more like the anime. Like the anime is already something
that's where you take the tech, make it look like Origins or Generations. Like don't make it look like even Pokken. Don't make it look like Pokken,
because that can exactly, because it can, I mean, anime can be beautiful, you know, like Princess Mononoke or whatever is like classic and like just looks great. And so more things, you know, Breath of the Wild, you know, it's
making it look like an anime is the Pokemon equivalent of like, wait, are you playing a video game? You know, like this isn't an episode of the show. Like that is the like, oh shoot, we're here. Technology wise, we are here. It's not the Grand Theft Auto of like, are you watching a video? Even though like people act like that, like people have those moments of like, it looks real. Video games have never looked real. They still don't. They still don't. Very clearly the closest that we get to that is South Park, of like it looks like the thing it is emulating. But video games, in like when they shoot for realism, they have never ever looked real. Even on like super high like like spec computers and stuff.
I mean,
like
some of it is like it's too saturated. It's too,
exactly.
like it's stuff that is supposed to make it look beautiful, but it doesn't look.
But it doesn't look real.
Accurate.
Yeah, and there's like,
I'd still rather look beautiful than look real. Like that's the whole thing.
I don't know. It depends on what the game is, I think. I think they get pretty close with like environments, but even then it's like they get the look of environments. But when I'm playing Ratchet and Clank and I literally can walk through the bush and the bush doesn't move with my character, I just clip through it. It's like, why make it look real at that point? Like it would feel better if it didn't look real and I clip through it, because then it's like, it makes sense, it's a cartoon. But when you make it look real, it's like, it's uncanny valley. It's like, that's not supposed to do that.
I think taking the Pokemon example too, like extending it to like thinking of Breath of the Wild and a Bokoblin, if you try to make Zelda look real and a Bokoblin look like real, it's going to look worse than it does in Breath of the Wild. Like I don't want that, like it's just it looks better being artistic and being not real, where you can imagine yourself in that world. You can't imagine that out in the real world. Like I don't.
There's just too many like weird problems that need to be solved once you like steep yourself in realism. That just either makes it that you need to be doing it on tech that is like prohibitively expensive, or you need to cheese it and that like shoot you in the foot in terms of like accomplishing your goal. Like, what happens when a Bokoblin dies? Where does it go? After I slashed a Bokoblin in a realistic looking Zelda game, is it just going to lie there dead and just bleeding out? And then I pull the horn off of its dead carcass, But like if it's a cartoon and it just turns into a poof of dark gas, and then I pick up the items, it's like in a cartoon, that's like, that makes sense. My brain can reconcile that. But if it looks real, I'm like, nah, like where does body go? Like it looks jank when it looks real. But when it's a cartoon, it's like, that makes sense.
Yeah. So that's our take on if Doki V, I don't know, we'll find out. Should look like what, or Pokemon and all that. But yeah, again, maybe that's going to be a great game in and of itself and be great for what it is. But whether or not that should translate to Pokemon is its own thing.
Yeah.
But maybe it'll sell great in Japan, just like the Xbox somehow did, for at least for what I think. I just happen to be looking at this article that's actually about the Ring Fit Adventure doing well, and Ghost of Tsushima being on the charts, which means that it's not all 30 Nintendo Switch games anymore. But I noticed that the Xbox Series X and S sold each like almost 3,000 in Japan last week, which is like, good job. What is it doing? I have no idea. I mean, which is only a lot for specifically Xbox.
I mean, even then, not really. Because this is early days of the platform. Like early days of Xbox One, and like before that, they usually sell around that too. You're used to seeing like the triple digits for like Xbox One, and but that's what, 6-7 years removed from when it launched.
That's true.
So I mean, I think that a year or two.
I mean,
from
even
now,
this though, going back to the
numbers.
Week's chart before this, it was in still the triple digit for like Xbox Series X is 822, Xbox Series S is 434. So like, I wonder if there was just a special promo or something going on
maybe
last
it was
week,
just a stock thing. Like maybe they didn't have the stock, but now they kind of do. Like I could see, if I was Microsoft, I would send Japan 50,000 units every 6 months. Seriously, that's what I would do. And like I would see, like I would gauge how fast those sell, and then once that trickles down, I'm sending them 25,000 every 6 months, and then I'm sending them 25,000 every year, and I'm trickling it down from there. There's
especially because there's other places where it's selling out, so like they're not
exactly, like this
put all their stock
like
there.
It's not like it's cheaper because like it sells less. It's not like, all right, all right, manufacturers that like all right, partners, these are going to Japan, so we should get a cheaper rate. Like, no, these are still the same exact console. Yeah. You can sell those to markets that need them. But you know, like they're the multi-billion-dollar company, and maybe they do that again. Like this to me says that more than anything, where it's like, all right, we ran out of our allotment. We sold all 75,000 units that they sold us during the first 8 months or whatever. Here's another.
I mean, and I guess the fact that it's hard to find them at all probably still means that a lot of that is scalpers. You know, where like at that point, it could very well be that it's cheaper. It's beneficial as a scalper to buy it from Japan at cost, ship it, and then still resell it for the extra couple $100 that you know people are reselling stuff for, which is insane. Actually, I don't know what are the prices like on probably
the thing, you know, it's crazy.
Oh, also, like, do you think the was the Halo one this week? No, that was this current
I think
week,
you could, you could well, I don't know if there's any pre-orders left, but like the meta, I feel like the meta in Japan, if you're in Japan, you could make big money. Because like if I'm in Japan, I'm buying every Xbox I see. Because like you guys don't want it. But I'm still gonna sell it in America, you know? Like so like I don't even have to feel bad about it because Japan doesn't want it anyway. I'm still making money. Like that's crazy. So I could definitely see Scout. I can see that. Honestly, I don't even know, like I don't know what the cost of like doing that. Like, so buy it if you live here. Buy it from Japan and then have it shipped to you and then sell it. I wonder if that would be profitable. It's not going to be as profitable for sure.
Yeah.
But don't scalp. It's nasty. But I'm just saying, in theory.
You know, it's nasty how great it was to finally have an Ice Climbers video this week that you made. There you go.
Yeah,
That's
I did.
You made an Ice Climbers video, and it's long overdue, and it's finally here.
It is. It's
got any thoughts before we get in comments?
I'm kind of sad I didn't have as much time to work on it as I wanted to. I wanted to flesh out some other stuff, but stuff happens.
Yep. Well, you did a good job anyway.
I appreciate that. Thank you. I'm glad people liked it.
Yeah. I think Ice Climbers should be probably just like an Uncharted game, but just, you know, super graphically realistic. You don't really get to control anything. You just I haven't played an Uncharted game, so I don't really know
you get to press Y sometimes.
Yeah.
Like, oh, it's a cutscene. I can press square.
So yeah, but no, I thought it was great. I think I would like them to do anything with Ice Climbers. I think
Ice Climbers. I'm banning Alec.
And no arguments here. You know? AV said, "Great video, AJ. I live in Vancouver. There's a significant native population here. You'll actually see their art all over Vancouver, and there's even multiple museum exhibits and cultural centers. So it shouldn't be hard for that studio to connect with some local native communities. Your idea is spot on overall."
This comment made me happy. Nice. Because like I researched for sure to like make sure that was like a thing that made sense, because like it was a thought. I was like, yo, like they're freaking like Eskimo Inuit inspired. So and that part of that, like, so it's like Russia and like northern Canada and stuff like that. So I was like, yo, Nintendo has a Canadian studio. I was like, where are they? They're like, oh, they're in Vancouver. But I mean, there's still there still has to be like some sort of connection there, you know? Yeah. So like, and also again, like I said in the video, like they have a similar like you know, like relationship with Nintendo and like their influence overall, like in terms of like the type of games that they gravitate towards making and what they prioritize is very similar to retro. So like it's all the positives that I was thinking of, like when I originally was like, it should be a retro game, plus the fact that like they could make it like super creative and like true to the inspiration of the characters if they just gave it to their Canadian studio to make it.
I mean, I feel like it would have a lot of the same benefits of Rajati that came out last year.
Yeah.
Like a ton of people, myself included, it was like, honestly, I just want to play this game because I've never played anything that's based in Indian mythology or Indian culture and stuff. And like, that's just interesting to find out about. And I saw a lot of other people saying the same thing. So I think that same kind of a thing where like people would want to play the game, obviously, but if it like did a good job of being actually representative of that culture. I've never played anything that's based in Eskimo, Inuit kind of things. The closest thing would be the dog sledding game that the Red Lantern or whatever, which is like, nope, that's not that. It's just about the Iditarod. And so you're in the same area, but completely ignoring that culture that's there. So yeah, I think that was a really good idea. I had not thought of that one bit, but I'd be super down.
I mean, that's the thing. Like, neither have I. And so I was like, wait, like that was like, I mean, and I'm sure you have those moments too, where it's like there's videos that like you want to make for like a long time, and then when you actually sit down to make it, there's so many like ideas that's like, yo, and it could be that and that changes the whole entire video. And like the problem where it's like we need 1 million subscribers, all our videos need to get 2 million views so like we can actually make the videos that we want to make, because like in reality I want this game to be a 3D game, but there's no way to like illustrate what that would look like with like what's available, because like I want to show you like this is what the art looks like. So like the thing that your mind goes to with like the available art that's there is like, oh, he probably wants this to be a 2D game, but I don't. Like I want it to look like that but in 3D.
Yeah, it's tricky.
Yeah, but I'd have to pay somebody to model that, or
yeah, and then get it reworked and all that kind of stuff, which is just a whole doozy.
We need more money. Like, comment, subscribe, and see that's the thing. Not even for us. Like, I don't even mean more money for me. I mean more money to invest in the videos. Like,
it's true. Diego Colazo Garcia said, in college, some of the stuff that we as music teachers are thought to talk about is how to represent culture in our programs. It hasn't occurred to me that this is something that should be done in video games too. But looking back on it, it's so obvious. You make a good point in saying that the people of the culture that inspired the Ice Climber design should help with the game. Yeah.
Yes.
100%.
For sure.
Debug and Lub Cub said, when I think of a new Ice Climbers game, I imagine a 3D survival adventure game where the point is to climb a massive mountain with caves, valleys, and the sorts. But you could also have to manage resources and hunt to survive on your way up the mountain.
Yep. That's it. I mean, yeah. That's what I was. Yep. That's what the video's about.
I think it's a lot of this kind of stuff is, I think you said this in the video, is like getting the systems to work together is both the hard part, but also the rewarding part.
Like getting them to work together and feel fun.
Yeah.
Because like it's easy to do the survival thing of like, it's a mountain, so they're going to be cold and like they're exerting energy, so the stamina, and they're going to get hungry because they're people, and like that part is easy, but it's like making it not feel like a restriction, like it is inherently one. So like that, but it needs to be used in a way that makes the game feel challenging in a fun way, not in a way that's like, oh, I can't, like, it's so hard because like I can't do anything because the systems are just making it impossible to progress without managing the systems, I think it needs to feel necessary rather than a punishment.
And like, I think in a way that you can have moments where it feels like everything's going wrong and you just like make it past a certain thing by a hair or whatever. Like I can't think, and then like you
like
can make
rain
it back from
in
that
Breath of the Wild.
Yeah,
like
right.
That,
exactly.
that's a huge thing of like why getting to the, like, or a huge example of getting to peaks of mountains in that game feels so rewarding, because it's like, man, I had this huge obstacle, but I big brained it and I'm here now, like.
Yeah, I think it would be, what would you imagine as like the gameplay loop? So say you die in this game, do you go back to a checkpoint? What's the, I don't know, thought process there? Or is it like more like a roguelike that you're starting from scratch? And
so I mean, that's the other, should probably like it should probably be a thing where you start from scratch, but not in a way where it's not like Dark Souls, where like, oh, I got to this point that the game tells me is the checkpoint. But it should be like a risk reward of like, I can set up my own checkpoint, but like the enemies, the freaking like, like the polar bears and stuff like that, like it takes you like a while to like set up the camp that you can like, like set up your base of like, this is where I'm saving here. And they notice, they're like, oh shoot, they're setting up the thing. So like you have to make your own space to set up camp, like it's a risk reward of like, okay, I want to save here. So I got to set up camp, but that'll alert the enemies in the area. I think that's probably like the best way to do that, where it's like, it's not punishing in the sense that like you can save and you don't have to like speed run this or die, or not be able to save and blah blah, but it's also not frictionless.
Right. I think honestly kind of the roguelite approach definitely seems like it would apply. Ironically, actually thinking back to the Red Lantern, pretty much with that game you do a run and then the next time around you get just a little bit more of whatever resource you died because of running out of, and like it still maxes out to where you could still lose with even the most stuff possible, but it's just easier to not lose with it. Like I don't know 100% if you could win with the I imagine you could with the base amount of stuff, because it's all about like keeping enough resources and gathering stuff, like whatever. But it's like, yeah, exactly. But it's like, it's pretty luck based, I feel like, in general, in terms of you decide to go left or right. You don't know what encounters are going to be in different areas and stuff. But I feel like that kind of a thing where like the more you die, you get stuff and you get to keep things from your last expedition.
I mean, it should definitely be balanced in like a Breath of the Wild sort of way, where if you're good, you can win. Yeah. Like you can do the straight again and run. And if you're good enough, you can do that. But progression makes it easier. Like progression shouldn't make things possible. It should make things easier.
Yeah. Which honestly, I mean, again, even with Breath of the Wild, it checks out in terms of the logic of like, the more you've explored this world and been a part of this world, the better you're going to be and the more stamina you're going to have as just a hardy person who's like exercised now a bunch, that kind of thing. So that, the more you play the game, the more you die, eventually you'll be stronger because of it, and then more able to achieve the things. But like, yeah, it'd be fun to, explore the mountain, find cool secrets and nooks and crannies and all that kind of stuff.
Yep.
Yeah. Amp said, what I would really love is if they pulled a Cadence of Hyrule and had a Celeste Ice Climbers game, make it a co-op platformer that kids can handle, plus harder extra levels. I do agree that it needs to be co-op focused with local or online. Just the Ice Climbers having grappling hooks that can grab stuff or swing from or grab each other to throw each other means a game designer with better ideas than mine can make a fun game. I wonder if 3D could work or if 2D would be best.
Parker already made this video. But also I think that something like this would be a much better way to like take a franchise from zero to AAA S tier Nintendo franchise. Because like I think that game should be made, but it should be made when people already care about Ice Climbers. Rather than it being the thing that's like, hey, you should care about this. Like this game, I could see if they make a game that looks good and it's appealing and it like they like stick the landing on it, I could see this game selling 10 million units on its own merit. I could see a Celeste style Ice Climber game sell maybe half that if it's as good, because like it has the Metroid Dread effect. Without the Metroid Prime 4 to look forward to and feel like you need to like get steeped in this world to understand the game that you're actually looking forward to.
Yeah. And then obviously it would also have the comparisons to Celeste, which could be good or could be bad, at that point. So, but again, I mean, yeah, like you said,
I'd be
I
down for
the exact same thing.
I would 100%. Buy it. But I think that like within the idea of like what we try to go for of like revive this series and make it something that's on the level of a Mario, a Zelda, etc., etc. How do we do that? And I think that a game like this would accomplish that easier.
Yeah. Honestly, just do a pixel remaster of the original Ice Climbers.
Yeah,
That's
just make
you know,
that game again.
just a little crisper.
Somebody was like, they were like, I would like a new Ice Climber game. I like the original, or I think it's good, or something. Like, I'm like, yo, the game's bad. It's not good. It's not a good game.
Yeah, it's not.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know.
I wish it was, but it's not.
Very true. Spoiler Queen said, great idea. I thought about such a game too. It would be cool to have an Ice Climbers game with even better climbing mechanics than Breath of the Wild, where you have to tactically scale huge mountains with maybe different climbing techniques and tools, like being on a rope together or using ice picks, managing inventory weight, or surviving high altitude sickness with limited oxygen tanks, manage time before you freeze to death, or building camps in a blizzard, environmental hazards like avalanches, etc.
Yeah, and that's like the type of stuff that I also wanted to get into. Like I talked about like temperature should matter, but I also think that like, so you know, like how you can kind of cheese temperature in Breath of the Wild, where it's like it's
100%.
cold, but I have a flame sword. You know, it's like it's cold and I don't have good enough equipment, but I'm close to my friend, so we're warmer. You know, like like that sort of thing. Like
there's logic kinds of stuff.
Yeah, exactly. Like I mean, even real life logic, like body heat is a thing.
Like, yeah, but like to the
point,
it's
not going to be like that much. But like exactly. Like it's just an exaggeration of like something that is like the case.
The same thing with flame sword. You know, like you'd be warmer, but like maybe your butt would still fall off. I don't know.
Yeah. But yeah, stuff like that I think is like they could easily have like those type of like aha moments of like, oh, this is a fun like quirky way to like solve this problem that people would like just intuitively come to that understanding. And even if they don't accidentally run into it, right, where it's like, oh man, like I was cold and then I got too close, or I thought too close to my friend and then I wasn't for a second. So that's a mechanic. I just discovered that mechanic completely by accident. You know.
Yeah, it's definitely, I mean, it's the kind of game where because it's not as I don't know, rigidly built like a 2D Mario,
it doesn't
for example,
have the
or whatever.
Star Fox problem where people have this like concrete idea of like what a Star Fox game is. It can just be whatever.
I mean, I'm even thinking like the game that that we're talking about, the survival game and stuff like that. There's big picture mechanics, but like in terms of the like getting jumps to building a 2D game where jumps have to be exactly this height, and if it's a pickle too little or too much, then it doesn't feel right. About that kind of stuff, like you don't have to think about that stuff quite as much. It's more like build systems that work together and then make an interesting landscape, and the two kind of just organically, I guess, I don't know, I'm not a game designer, but come together. So I think that's a kind of thing that Nintendo doesn't always have a ton of, but would be fun to have. And all these kinds of things, I think that Spoiler Queen you mentioned, those are like, right up there.
Very good ideas.
Yeah, Ice Climbers.
That's the type of stuff that makes me kind of sad that I didn't have more time to like talk about it, because like that's a lot. Like I wanted to go deeper into like, and they could do this thing that like it's really cool, and like this sort of like logic that's within Breath of the Wild. Like here's an example of that, and here's another one, and here's another one. But I didn't really have time to like not necessarily talk about it, but find how to illustrate that in the video.
That honestly, that is hard. I'm not gonna lie, there's definitely times where if we realize that we're gonna work on a video together, like I'm like, I only have time to make the script for whatever reason, and then you're gonna do the edit. There's definitely some things where I'm like, I'll add this part in because I think AJ will have ideas for how to visualize this that I don't want to think about how to do. So that happens, because sometimes it's just hard to like show what the thing is without just brute forcing it and building the thing.
Exactly.
So cool. And then I made a video, and here it is. I talked about September Direct. I got that comment twice. Oh no, what other comment was I meant to get? I copy pasted the same one twice, which I think means that I didn't copy a different comment that I wanted.
Oh yeah, like you didn't, like you
I didn't press copy again or something like that.
Something else.
Exactly. Yeah. Just
press like Control B or something.
So I'll see if I can find that at some point, but we'll see. Sometimes if I just see which ones I said. I'm gonna put this in the podcast, then whatever. In any case, it was September Direct. Tell me your thoughts while I find this comment.
I'm always in that place. I've always been in that place of like we don't need this. I don't think Nintendo needs this. I feel like the only people that need this are like need these directs are the people that are gonna buy whatever comes out anyway. Like it's less so something that like if this doesn't happen, Nintendo's gonna like have less success than they would have otherwise.
Right.
But it's really just peace of mind for people that are like, oh, I need the next thing to play. I need to know when the next thing comes out. But like that's not you not having that is not going to preclude you from buying the thing when it happens.
Yeah.
So it's like it's a foregone conclusion more than anything. And we're just like we will always inherently be more and more in a place where we don't need the next thing to get announced because we have so much things that either you have that you're still playing or you have that's in your backlog if you're the type of person with that to be a thing, or the amount of games that like you haven't played but you hear so many people love and you want to try anyway, because like no matter how much money or time or vice versa or both you have, you will never have enough for the amount of games on a successful platform that you would like if you gave them a try. So like it's nice and fun to have a whole bunch of like new cool games and like I'm always down for them, but we're not ever really in a place where except for the first year of a platform we need to know like what's next,
right? Yeah, especially if you haven't bought the platform yet and you are like, am I even gonna buy it? Because and then you see the Metroid Prime 4 trailer and you're like, yep, I'm gonna buy it because I'm about to be playing Metroid Prime 4 soon.
Yeah, like I think more than anything, the reason why directs matter in theory, it doesn't end up happening in this way because like more than likely, I mean it works in a roundabout way, it does, because like the people that end up watching directs end up like telling that information to the person that the direct in theory is for. But like the only people that it actually matters for is like the people that are looking for the straw that broke the camel's back, where it's like I don't really want to switch, there's not a game that makes me like like fall in love with the idea of having one. That is who the directs are for, where it's like, okay, I found that one game I wanted Metroid on Switch, and now Metroid's happening, so I'm buying a Switch. And then once you already have the Switch, you're like, I might as well buy Breath of the Wild. I might as well buy Smash Brothers. I might as well buy Mario Kart 8, That is who the directs are for. Like, we already in. Nintendo has our money. And because we already made the investment, most people are already looking, like they're in that place where it's like, okay, what's the next game? Whatever, blah, blah, blah. But even if you're in that mindset of like, I need to further justify my purchase, you can play the games that you already did that with, The
interesting thing to me thinking about it too is like, I mean, I know there's people that there's plenty of people I know that are like this, but it's just different from the way that I am and the way that you are, which we're on kind of two opposite sides of the same thing, where like the kind of person where there's a very specific kind of game that you want to play. And if there's not that specific kind of game that's coming out soon, then that's
then
it.
Might as well be nothing. Yeah.
Right. Yeah, exactly. Which I mean, some of that is obviously just good money saving techniques. It's like, I want to play Breath of the Wild. I want to play any other game that's like very, as good as Breath of the Wild and similar to Breath of the Wild. And then if I tell you like, oh, what about like, it's nothing like Breath of the Wild, but what about this other game, and you're like, no, it doesn't look like the kind of game that I already played and know that I like. And like, I still remember playing, I think it was Golf Story was the first indie that I got. No, the first indie I got was Kamiko, which in retrospect was a good game. It was only $5. When I played it, I was expecting, I wasn't really familiar with indie games. So it felt like that was really short and like, well, so like that was a bit of a wake up call. But then playing Golf Story was the first one where I was like, oh, indie games. Okay, I get what's going on here. Like, this is great. And then from there, feel that way where it's like there's more things are open to me. And I feel similarly with like music. I know I've got one friend that I was talking to about music with recently, that it seems like anytime he has a suggestion, he's like, oh, you could listen to this, I guess, if you want. And I'll be like, okay, sure. And I'll go listen to it and be like, cool. Yeah, I like this. I didn't like this, but it, like have some thoughts about it and like expands my music library. And then I've been like, hey, if you want to check out any of the stuff that I like, here's, these 5 bands, and like, here's 1 or 2 songs from each of them that I think like are like in my top list these days to kind of get an idea. And I don't think he's listened to any of them yet, which is fine. But like, it's just a different outlook of like, nope, I've got the things that I like.
Yeah.
And that's it.
Yep.
And that's interesting. So I think that's the kind of person, especially, that feels like they need a direct, because for me, truly, like, again, there's so many games that already are on the Switch that if I run out of games to play, there's easily a dozen more that I can pick up, if I wanted to spend the money on them and be excited to play them. But, that's not everybody. And then on the other side, you could theoretically not buy another game almost ever
and still be content,
and still be fine.
There are games that I could play for forever, literally,
exactly,
on the platform that I have. But I think that like the type of person that you're describing, like, that's just them not being willing to explore, because it's not even a compromise. Like, they're looking at it like a compromise where it's like, I guess I'll buy this game that I don't even that I don't already know that I want. But in reality, it's like, no, like, just trying things that you would actually enjoy, and there's no real question to that. Like, my brother's like that, where I was like, yo, you got to try Breath of the Wild, and because Breath of the Wild doesn't look like God of War, he's like, I wouldn't like that. But in reality, he would freaking love Breath of the Wild.
And so he's still never played it.
Yeah, no, because just what it looks like. Literally, that is what it's like. That doesn't look like.
Well,
that's true.
Like that. I mean, I bought Hollow Knight for a friend of mine for his birthday last year, and I checked his play history, and I saw that he played. There's kind of a hump of the first 3 hours or so, where I could see somebody falling off if they didn't know one way or another, playing 3 hours and being like, I don't know about this. But it showed like less than 1 hour. Actually, I'm going to check right now. I want to say that it said less than 1 hour played, or maybe 1 hour played or something like that. But to me, that says that you were like, oh, it's a 2D game. And then that was kind of the end of it.
And then on the other end of the spectrum of that, right, there was a more recent example of this where he was playing Harvest Moon on like the PlayStation 2 Harvest Moon. It was like A Wonderful Life or whatever. He's like, yo, I want to play a new game like this. And I'm like, yo, get Stardew Valley. That's literally like that, but like more, like, it has more depth, and there's more that you can do, and it's like multiplayer and all that stuff. He's like, nah, I want to play Story of Seasons or whatever. I'm like, yeah, but like, game's not as good, but it looks like the next step to the Harvest Moon, A Wonderful Life. So that is what he was gravitating towards, because it looked like that, like, and I think that that's usually where people are at, where it's like, this looks like something that I would be into, even if in practice it's not,
which is so fun. I mean, I get that too. Like, I see games and I'm like, ooh, that looks like it's good. But then I also am familiar enough with situations where a game that looks graphically good is like, nope, runs like garbage or whatever, like, or it's just not well thought out, any of that kind of stuff. Like, so, I'm aware of that kind of thing enough, but I know that like there's been some things where like Ashley will see somebody playing a game and be like, oh, we should play that game, or see a trailer for a game. Like, yeah, but I don't think either of us will actually enjoy it. It'll be like, look at the sights and sounds and stuff, but like, so yeah, I mean, that's why those games, some people just legitimately like those games, but I think they get some extra sales for sure, because games just keep looking better and better, and hopefully they keep looking better and better, but also the gameplay continues going with it more often than not.
The priority,
right?
Like,
yes,
because it definitely is a priority, and it's like I still contend that graphics ultimately don't matter, but they do matter because they matter to a specific type of person. Where it's like, it doesn't matter to the quality, to the quality of a game. Like, a game that looks phenomenal can suck, but it matters because it wins people over and makes them want to play it, regardless of if the game is good or not. Because I know that that's usually like the argument whenever somebody's like, graphics don't matter. They're like, well, there's this focus test, blah blah, that like to consumers they do matter, and it's like, yeah, they do, because that's what makes you excited about the game, but they don't matter to the end product. Like they matter for the demo of the product, like the commercials and you know, like and all that stuff. But to the actual game, it doesn't matter. Like I remember talking about this all the time with like Logan, where when Smash 4 was announced or whatever, I'm like, yo, this game looks great. And then I played the game the first day. I'm like, yo, this game looks great. And then I don't care about what the game looks like. It doesn't matter. I just want to know, like, oh, that forward air hit me. It didn't hit me. Cool. You know, like I maybe like pause the game and I get a still that looks phenomenal. I'm like, oh, this game looks good. There's like 2 distinct moments where I'm like, or maybe 3. There's 3 distinct moments where I notice how good a game looks. It's when it's announced, the first time I'm playing it, and random instances where the game is paused somewhere. And I'm like, this game looks good. But none of that matters to the actual like experience of playing the game.
Yeah.
It's just a plus, if anything.
Yeah, right. Exactly. I mean, and you know, at the same time, I also love it when games look great. So like Breath of the Wild 2, it's looking great so far. So yeah, it's
which is a plus. I don't think that it like, because if Breath of the Wild played like Breath of the Wild and it looks like Ocarina of Time, I don't care. The game's good. It plays good, and that's what matters.
Yeah. So, but that's it. I mean, like as far as a direct, I personally don't. It's funny. I didn't think this video was. I just didn't think about it from some other people's perspective. I didn't think it was going to be as kind of controversial a little bit as it ended up being.
Which is weird that it's controversial because I know that like I saw when you were like, this is the idea that I had, and like the phrasing of the title, I'm like, he's doing the thing again. Where you're trying to like
interesting
drift away from hurting people's feelings. Because like the strong wording and like the title wording that you should have gone for to like get as many people that want to watch the video as possible to watch the video is like we don't need a direct. Because even like that could even be true, because like it could literally like actually true where you don't need the direct and I don't need the direct. That's we. Period. That's that's not even, that's just true. We don't need the direct,
right?
But because like you're like, but that's like, they might think that I'm trying to speak for them and blah blah. They are going to think you're speaking for them anyway. Like the type of people that are going out of their way to be mad about something, it doesn't matter how you word the title, the premise is what is going to make them mad. So it's like, you might as well just go for the thing.
I mean, we can A/B test it and just see, because the video is the video at this point.
It's like, it doesn't really matter. But I'm not saying that it's a bad thing actively. I'm just saying that was the writing on the wall for me. Like I didn't push back because it's like, I think both of them can work. That's why I was like, for this title, I think that we should put you in it to even like even more so steer into the skid of like, let's make this as personal as humanly possible. But at the end of the day, people still take it as an attack, that it's like, this dude doesn't feel the way I feel. Dislike. Unsubscribe. You know.
It's just, it's so funny because I was thinking of this like retrospect, like I the way that the video played out in terms of thinking of it was like, I guess we got a direct coming out soon, and I was like, you know what, I it'll be awesome, but I also kind of don't care at like in that, like if we don't have one, I'm set, you know, I'm good. And I was like, honestly, that maybe that's something worth talking about. And like, why do I feel that way, as opposed to, and I didn't go into this quite as much, but like I was gonna have a section that was talking about how come I think other years we actually, like, it was more important that we had one some other years, and now it's just less important. And I think, like you said, we'll continue to be less important. But I think, you know, if we get to the end of 2021 and they haven't said anything about 2020 or end of 2022, and they haven't said anything about 2023, then like we probably need one more than we need one this year. But like at this point, we just don't, you know, like we've got one actual release date for 2022 already with Legends Arceus. So like we're, you know, the ball's already rolling.
We're kind of at where we were at the end of 2020, where it's like we have a lot of games that we know were like supposed to be heavy hitters, and it's not for the same reason. Like they got delayed out of when they were supposed to release. But either way, like in 2021, we know that there's going to be a big selection of these games, whether they get delayed or not, that are going to be exciting. and we're in the same place. We already have a crazy, if literally nothing else is announced in 2022, 2022 might be the best year of Switch, period. And I mean like in the 2017 way of thinking, not in the like actual like real world way of thinking. But in the like, oh, there's just so many new games that exactly, that I specifically want to play. I'm discounting every other game that exists currently. I already played those, you know, like that sort of thing. Like we have the Breath of the Wild.
I mean, you mean Project Triangle Strategy, right?
That's obviously. We have Breath of the Wild sequel. We have Pokemon Legends Arceus. We have Splatoon 3. You know, like there's so many games that are literally just 2017 again.
Right.
All we need is Mario, you know, like that's where we're at right now, which is insane.
Yeah, it's crazy. So some of these comments, there is here we go. Topic Crew Games and Geeks said, so right now Nintendo have heavy hitters to close out the year, but do we need one, as in a direct? Well, I don't think so. More so a November/December direct would make more sense to talk about the next year and what games or updates to keep people in the know. The bigger question would be when PS5 and the Xbox Series X picks up momentum, how Nintendo keep the same player count and sales, I guess.
Honestly, I think by the time PlayStation 5 and Xbox Series are done, Nintendo will already be like in a position where they could, I don't know if they're going to, because Nintendo, like they could do the Super Nintendo thing and just be on, like skip an entire generation if they really wanted to. Like they could naturally be in a place where they have the inherent excitement of a new platform by then. So they wouldn't have to like be like, oh shoot, because now if anything would be the time where we thought, you know, like we were making videos about like, oh shoot, how do they like compete in theory with the idea of new platforms. But like most people that I know outside of the people that like want to like really justify their purchase are like regretting that they have next gen consoles, because there's literally nothing to do on them. Like on Xbox Series, I think that's less so the case, because like you have like you can get Game Pass, and like if you didn't have an Xbox One, you have tons of games to play. Like just by owning this platform. But on PlayStation 5, it's like, all right, like I'll play Returnal, I'll play Ratchet and Clank, maybe Sackboy, you know, and then what?
But especially for a new console where it feels like you should be spending a lot more time on it, you know. That's the idea, is like I spent a lot of time on the Switch in 2017 and like found experiences to be able to make that happen, but yeah, that's trickier when there's fewer games coming out. And I mean, for sure, like those places are great ways to play your backlog, if nothing else. But yeah, for sure, they're not like those consoles in general, outside of like scalpers are managing to sell them and stuff, but like for people specifically, they're not, as they haven't like taken over in the same way, the mind share in the same way that we were kind of thinking they might have been.
Because like scalpers are able to sell them because scalpers are selling them. You know, like the existence 100%. Of them, like so the initial excitement of a platform that happened, right? So scalpers bought the consoles, and then they became like this, you know, like limited resource. So people are like, oh shoot, I need to get this as soon as possible, because when it happens and when games come out that I do want, I want to be. It happened to me. I mean, I didn't buy it from a scalper, but I was like, yo, like the games that I want to play are not out yet, and they're going to get delayed. Horizon, you know, like, and I know that probably more than most people that are in this position. But I bought one anyway because I don't want to not be able to buy one, you know? And that's where people are at, where it's like, I might not be able to buy this when I want it. So when I can and how I can, I will, you know?
Right.
But that's different from like, oh man, I gotta buy a Switch because that's Breath of the Wild. You know, like it's not so much buying it for what you know, it's buying it for what you don't know.
Yeah. So I mean, as far as, and then the direct part of that, I mean, I think theoretically a November or December direct would technically make more sense. I do think that Nintendo, much as they buck habits, sometimes there's some things that they seem to kind of stick to, and this seems to be within the things that they stick to is like doing it either within the September region or, probably not at all.
I think December or November doesn't really make sense.
Yeah, right.
Like
I think it only makes sense in terms of like setting up for the next year.
But also I don't think that makes sense. I think that like setting up for the next year after the quarter that they're on makes sense.
Yes.
Because like for them, it's not just about informing us.
Right.
It's also about their investors. So like to be like, here's stuff that's coming out. Everybody get excited. During the period that also like really investors should be paying attention to, because like look how much money we're making right now, like so it should be like look how much money we're making right now, and now we're in the period where we traditionally don't make nearly as much money, usually half if not less than half. Let's like bolster that a little bit and add that excitement to a period that traditionally doesn't make us as much money. It makes way more sense for them to end off their third quarter with all this money and all this, excitement for the holiday season. And then after that, when all that dies down, add more excitement for what's to come later, So that's why like January, February usually makes more sense, because it's like, all right, that period's over now, and we're in which usually a dry spell, but we can like arbitrarily add excitement by announcing new things, know?
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. So, I mean, that stuff. There you go. There's that. Brandon P said, some new game announcements for the coming months would be nice. I haven't played my Switch in a while, and other than Metroid, there's nothing I'm looking forward to till Breath of the Wild 2. Fortunately, the other systems have some blockbuster games coming out in the next 6 months. Yeah, I mean, again, hopefully they what was I going to say? I don't know. They hopefully there will be a direct at all, and there will be stuff that's there for you. I think that's the thing is like, but that said, there definitely are other games if you're interested, to go back to the other thing, like you do you obviously don't spend money on things you don't want to spend money on, and like if blockbuster games are specifically the thing that you like in terms of gaming, then cool. But it might be worth looking at some lists if you're just anxious for games at all. Then there could be some other stuff that you'd enjoy that's kind of off the beaten path a little bit more.
Because in reality, a direct could just be because all if not a lot of the games that you could be playing right now were a part of a direct. And if there wasn't that one or two games that excited you more, those would have been the games that excited you enough to want to buy, but you ignored them because of the one or two games that excited you the most.
Right.
So like you can circle back and buy the games that would still excite you if they weren't in the presence of Breath of the Wild or a Metroid or whatever, and I think that that's like pretty universally true. Like I think a lot of people don't want to admit that, but it usually is, like, because again, like in the interest of saving money, it makes sense to prioritize things like that, where in the moment of a direct, I'm buying these two games, period. I'm interested in 6, but I have money that I want to spend on these 2, so I'm buying these 2. Now's the time that you can buy 2 more from that 6. Like,
yeah, exactly. Eric Henley said, I think I need a September direct. I don't have a huge backlog, and I've never been able to get into JRPGs and games of that nature. Eric, I'm so sorry, but you've been voted off the island.
I mean, I wouldn't vote you off the island, but I'm sorry to inform you that if we get a September direct, guess what you're going to see? That's what you're going to see. You're going to see JRPGs and games of that nature.
And then continues on. Games like Monster Hunter, I really tried to like, but I couldn't. I'm excited for Metroid, and I want a release date for Teenage Mutant TMNT Shredder's Revenge. I feel like it's going to be pushed to 2022, though.
Possibly.
Yeah, could be. Again, hopefully.
I mean, I can see that, but yeah, no, I think that there's a very high risk that a lot of the games, if not all, are going to be in the JRPG Venn diagram.
I mean, yeah, something about just the vibe in general. I don't feel like, I'm guessing that the most blockbuster-y game that would be announced at the September Direct, just for what it's feeling like to me, would be either Xenoblade Chronicles 3 or maybe like a big Star Fox or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
But otherwise, like a Kirby game that might be big, or that's true. I mean, could be anything. Mm-hmm. But yeah, I don't know. I for
feel
some
like
reason
they're in
I'm
a
not
place now that if they were going to make a major announcement, or if they had a major announcement like that to make, unless it was coming out this year, they would save it for E3, because they're still on the E3 train for whatever reason. So if E3 happens next year, why? But also if E3 happens next year, that's where we'll see the Mario.
I mean, or even maybe in like a February, March direct kind of thing, because in the same way like Smash Bros, so that they have 9-month lead up, or you know, whatever it is. But yeah, September direct, I feel like it'll be a bunch of fun things, but
it's going to be stuff in like the Doom, you know, like in that category where it's like it's exciting because we didn't think it would happen, but in the presence of other things that are like actually exciting, not because we didn't think they were going to happen, but like they're like Breath of the Wild 2 level announcements. That's what gets announced as September directs. It's the like C tier stuff in reality more often than
I mean, there may be some B tier stuff, but it's definitely my expectations are more tempered for the September direct, because also thinking back especially to the 2019 September direct, which I think was the only other year, maybe not the only other year, but was the year that we also least needed one, because we knew everything for that holiday season and stuff. It was like, oh no, we're good. And then they proceeded to give mostly updates for that holiday season. So like, you know, that kind of thing's definitely possible, where like we get one or two like brand new announcements, but most of it is like announcements about things that we already know, where like there's this extra mode that you didn't know about.
Legendary or something, you know, like
which would be hype, I'm sure.
It'd be cool, but it's not needed. Again, I talked about it on Nintendo Noise. I think that's
you haven't mentioned that on
here. I talked about it on Nintendo Noise, but I don't need to see this game anymore. I don't need to. I mean, I'd be fine with it, but I don't need to. They have my $60 already. It's fine. And I mean, that's where I'm at with a lot of the bigger games. So like, I feel like, at least for me, I know that not everybody is like this, but for me, it would be detrimental to a September Direct's quality if I see more of a game than I'm already sold on. Like, I don't need you to show me an ad on a game that it feels like Amazon sending me an email being like, buy this, and it's a list of stuff that I bought literally from Amazon, and that's why they're showing it to me. That's what it feels like. I don't need it.
It's within the same family too as the like 7 minutes on a JRPG kind of thing. I know, like I get it.
Speaking of that, Nintendo does that. Nintendo does that like in a very direct way, like literally the same exact thing. It happens less now, obviously, because we don't really get games from them anymore. They would send me a game, and then hours later they would send me an email being like, buy this game. I'm like, yo, you just sent it to me.
Oh, Nintendo, what silly things are you doing? Man. Last one. Falcon says, I would wager to say that we need a direct announcement, not even the direct. The hype leading up to direct is, for me at least, more fun than the direct itself. The endless array of speculation and debates that are generated online, the comment box and Twitter discussions are probably my favorite thing. I personally enjoy seeing how people react and what their expectations are, and then the fallout afterwards when they're all disappointed. It's just so entertaining.
Yeah, Falcon's in it for the content.
Yeah.
He's in it for the content. I mean, I'm down again. I'm down as a content creator. I love directs. Great for me. But as a gamer, don't care. I don't care. I can't play an ad. I can't. No matter how hard I try, I can't play an ad.
But have you tried really?
I've tried, dude. I've tried. Man. Especially when Breath of the Wild was coming out. Smash Brothers more than anything. I was trying to play those ads. Like I was playing Smash Brothers in my head for months. That also happens for me when character announcements happen. I'm playing that. That's why I hate it. I hate it whenever they're like, "Yo, here's this character comes out next week." Because then I got a theory craft and be like, "Oh, this character is like dash attack could probably combo into this." And I could probably press up B, and like I got to do that. I'm not like I can't play the video game in my head.
Alec in the comments said, I run away from internet post Nintendo Direct. I don't need those direct sucked takes. Honestly, yeah. Here's the thing. I also enjoy the like conversation around it and all that kind of stuff, but it's starting to feel like Among Us 5 months in, where people talk about the metagame more so than the game itself, where like you're in, like
because I don't even know if it's 5 months in that. I think is like I knew this because I just played
I saw you were playing with the
flip screen games.
Flip screen.
I hate it. I hate Among Us so much. Like at first when it was first a thing, I was like, yeah, this is cool, it's fun. But it's like fun with people that don't get it. Because like I don't get it, and I don't care to get it. Like the meta game, the game outside the game. I do not care to like dissect like how to lie to people and how to tell when people are lying to me. Because it just makes me like in the moment not like you. You know?
Yeah. Like, I mean similarly, within that thing, if anybody's ever played Mafia, which is like the youth group game version of Among Us or whatever, it would be like when instead of being like he's lying about being the mafia because you can, I don't know, something that feels like kind of in the world or whatever that you're taking part in, but it's more like I heard him breathing weird during this part of the game, and it's like, no, come on, man, that's like it takes
exactly. But also it's so much easier to like, it's like griefing the video game, because you're like, oh, I'm playing with somebody that doesn't play this game. And there's multiple layers of that in a game that's like physically like interactive, like in Mafia or Werewolf or whatever you want to call it. It's there's not really moments like that where it's like, you were just standing in this place, or you were walking into the wall, so obviously you're trying to act like you're doing a task, you're the killer, like that part of it doesn't exist in the game, and like in those games. So it becomes less frustrating because you're not getting punished for like fumbling with the controls of a game that you don't know, or like looking for an area. It's like, oh man, I went the wrong way, I was looking at my map, so I died because I didn't see somebody like coming up behind me. Like there's that part of it is not, it doesn't exist in those games. But in Among Us, it's like unless you commit your life to this game in that way where you learn the meta game outside the game, it's actively unfun, and there's no real way to make it fun for people that don't play the game. Like it's like the Smash Brothers thing. If people that played Smash Brothers weren't like me, because like when I play Smash Brothers with people that aren't good at the game, I try to come as close to being on their level as possible, unless they actively don't want me to. So I'm playing random characters, but there's no real way to do that in Among Us, because like either way, so you're going to do stuff where it's like, well, I know that people's like they're going to be more likely to believe or not believe me if I do this thing. If I report the body, the like low level play is like to assume like, why would he report the body, that like he killed him, blah blah blah, so he obviously it's like that type of game, and I don't like it. It's nasty.
So all that to say, that kind of thing, it feels like it's the same for direct speculation at this point sometimes, where it's like, I don't know, we talk again about, I mean, and I'm sure I'm guilty of it too, but like, is Bayonetta 3 finally going to be talked about? It wasn't, like that kind of thing. It, as opposed to just having fun of like, oh, they could announce like, I mean, like, I don't know, action point type videos. They could announce a Yoshi game where Yoshi is 20 feet tall and everybody else is blueberries. Like,
and it becomes this whole thing of like, you're stupid because obviously they would announce it here because so and so tweeted out the direct and blah blah blah, and then like,
So that's that's always a bit disappointing, that kind of side of it. But that said, I think there's definitely still channels and people that steer away from that and just still actually have fun with it instead of talking more about the metagame. And I'm sure I'm saying this and guilty of it too.
I don't know a single channel that does that apart from us. I mean, I know people that like steer away from it altogether, like speculation of like, what's this going to be? But I don't know anybody that's like, yo, this would be cool to like, what if this happened?
I feel like I've always thought that John Cartwright did a good job of like, anytime I'd listen to a direct speculation thing, he'd just be like, I made up this random game. It's called Mario's Dumpster Truck. And then it's just like, here's this game. And it's like, no, they truly are not going to announce Mario Stumpster Track. There's no realistic reason why they would announce that game, but we're just having fun here, so who cares? Like that kind of a thing.
That's true.
So, but yeah, it's fewer and further between for sure.
Nintendo needs to buy John's ideas. Yeah. Yo, you're not wrong.
Yeah. But that's it for my video. I don't know. We'll see. We'll find out in the next couple of weeks. Maybe I'm just wrong. There's not a direct at all, and then I'll feel bad for kind of. I mean, if I'm bringing it up now, other people are going to be bringing it up within the next week or two or whatever, and I'm sure there's already channels that are talking about leaks about it happening or not and stuff. So like,
yeah, and like. That's the thing about making videos like this, because people automatically assume if you're like, we don't need this, you're like, I don't want this. Well, right. This definitely isn't going to happen, but it's like,
which I tried to make that super obvious right from the get-go, but
people don't listen to that. Yeah. That's why it's like, it's almost better to not address the internet.
Yeah.
Because the internet's going to internet either way. Why waste your time?
Yeah. We'll just hang out with Alec because he hangs out with us,
Exactly.
And everybody else listening. I mean, if you're listening to the podcast, especially if you're this far into it, like you are the reason that we do this stuff.
Yeah.
Like, I was thinking about it the other day, earlier when I was grabbing comments, one of the comments was, I just want them to go ahead and announce this last Smash Fighter so I can unsubscribe from this channel. And I was like, all right, man, I hope you find a channel that suits you better. Have a good day. Like,
but also, what does that even mean?
I have no clue, to be honest. Like, we're not going to be the first ones to
like
talk about it.
I don't understand. I don't get that. Like, I don't. What does that mean? We're not the
Yep, exactly. Yeah, it's the specific comment said, I just want to know who the last Smash Fighter is so I can unsubscribe to this channel. And I was like, oh, well, we're bound to find out sooner or later. I hope you find a channel that fits your style more. And thanks for sticking to us as well you did. Happy Friday.
I'm not. I don't get the logic there. Will they not announce the last Smash Fighter if you're not subscribed to us specifically?
Yeah.
Are we holding it hostage? Because
maybe they want to see our reaction or something like that. I don't know.
But if you want to see our reaction,
we don't do that, really.
Why would you? I mean, it depends on the week, but sometimes.
That's true. Yeah.
Like there. I mean, I did it for Kazuya. I did it for Hero. It depends on the week.
Yeah. But still not like, we don't do like reactions like, whoa.
Yeah. It's not like we don't drop
so
like me watching the direct or whatever. But either way, it's like, I don't know. I don't get the logic there, because obviously you care about our thoughts and opinions. If you're sticking around for a specific thing, it's weird that like, I don't know.
Yeah, exactly.
Comments like that are always weird. Like, I don't care. I don't care if you unsubscribe. You're one dude. Like,
and I mean, also, moreover, I'd rather not anybody be watching my videos
that doesn't want to watch,
be having a bad time doing it. You know what I mean? It's like, I'd like everybody to be subscribed or nobody to be subscribed, depending on if they're having a good time. And that's pretty much the thing, So like, if you're not having a good time, just do something else. There's other stuff to do. That's fine.
It's true.
It's silly time.
People on the internet need to do more of what they like than what they don't like. Which is, I mean, that's full circle on the freaking No More Heroes 3 thing. Like, that's why I don't want to play it, because so far it just seems like the video about that thing is going to be me talking about why I don't like it. And I think that's a waste of everybody's time.
Yeah, so there's that. That's it for my video. Now we've got YouTube community comments or questions. We got a Q&A, and then here we go. First one, ironically, from YouTube community, thoughts on No More Heroes 3. If you guys haven't tried it yet, I understand, but it's nice to hear thoughts. LOL.
I haven't tried it yet. I'm seeing a lot of things that make me not want to ever try it, unfortunately. Which, when I say unfortunately, I really mean that, because like, it was a game that I was excited for, because I wanted to get it. I wanted to understand why people love this thing.
I think I may watch, because I haven't really watched any gameplay. I haven't read the reviews very much or anything. So like, this is usually, I'm happy. I can tell right away if it's going to be for me or not. And this one, I truly don't know, because I don't have a grasp of like kind of what it is other than the combat. That's the only bits that I've seen is like some combat, and the combat doesn't quite look up my alley, I don't think. But if the rest of the game fits a little bit better and the combat's just kind of fun, then cool, but I'll have to do more research for
the
this
death knell for me is that I saw people talking about how repetitive it is, and I was like, that was like the one thing that I was like,
yeah, which matters for me only if the kind of repetitiveness isn't fun repetition, because they're, you know, grinding in JRPGs is repetitive, but it's something that I enjoy doing. And there's other games that are repetitive, you know, like Animal Crossing's repetitive, but it's like a fun kind of repetitive. And then there's other kinds of games that are not fun repetitive at all. So like, depending on what the content is, that's the question there.
What you're doing needs to be fun, I think.
Mm-hmm.
Like if you're rinsing, repeating something that's fun, that's not a problem for me.
Yeah. Right. Yeah, exactly.
And I think that that's the difference between describing something as repetitive or not. Because right.
They wouldn't call it repetitive if it felt
in a roundabout way. Playing Smash Brothers is repetitive because what do? You both pick a character, you press plus, you fight each other, somebody wins. That's repetitive in the grand scheme of things.
Yeah.
But in actuality, it's the furthest thing from that because interactions are so varied of what they can be that no two matches are going to be the same.
Yeah, exactly.
Regardless of if we go into the match being like, I'm probably going to win this and I'm probably going to 3-stock you or whatever, right? Like I'm fighting somebody that is that much worse than me. That match where I 3-stocked you the first time is not going to be the same as the match that I 3-stocked you the second time. But if literally the game, like if the thing that you describe it as is repetitive, it's repetitive in a way that what you do each time is not fun or interesting.
Yep.
And that's not a good time.
So ironically, Alex said, I just got my please buy No More Heroes 3 email from Nintendo, LOL. Which also comes full circle.
I don't know if that's ironic or serendipitous. Those two things are like can be confusing. It's like they're like polar opposites, but also somehow they meet each other in the middle somehow.
It's coincidental, if nothing else.
Yeah.
Which
is also in that Venn diagram.
It is. Avery Patrick said, so I asked in the poll today was, do you think there will be a September Direct? Basically, 73% said yes, 27% said no. And Avery Patrick said there probably will be a Direct, but I really don't care either way. Honestly, all I'd really want is a Smash presentation like they did for Steve, where it's just a short live stream.
Yeah.
Okay. There you go. And then Cool said, hopefully a Smash reveal this September, but I can see them waiting until mid-October at the earliest if they want to release the character as closely as possible to the end of the year.
The irony there is hilarious. I find that hilarious.
What do you mean?
That like for you and like I know Max, that is the thing you want the least.
Yeah.
But everybody, the people that commented that are like, I want a Direct. Or I don't want, or like, I want to Direct, but I want it to be a Smash focused thing. It's wild.
So here's the thing. At this point, I don't mind it so much because I know how many characters there are. I also know every Direct, there's probably going to be the next one. You know what I mean? Like there's a amount of predictability that I can just check it off my list. And it's like, it's there. I've got it. But it's still if there weren't that, then I would feel that even more, like it would be taking up an otherwise something else slot. But in my mind, that slot doesn't even exist because it's a Smash slot. But if the whole thing were Smash focused and that was it, then I'd be a bit sad about that because like, come on.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's a lot of people's logic, even though in reality it just doesn't work that way.
Yeah, right.
Because like in reality, it's like this wasn't a Smash slot. This was a slot for nothing. But we have Smash, so we have a reason to do the thing. Yeah,
exactly. Moving into Twitter questions. Jordan DeBest said, based on the most recent videos, yes to the Ice Climbers idea and about the directs. Yeah, I would enjoy one, but I'm not in super need of one. I think a partner direct would be cool though. Smaller third-party games have kind of found a home on Switch. So my question is, what smaller third-party game are you most looking forward to or wanting on Switch?
Smaller third-party game. I don't pay attention to third parties, so I need to look.
I'm also going to look. I mean, arguably
look most exciting.
Here I can share my screen and we can
games.
Look at this.
Oh, you found
coming
something
soon. Okay. I'm gonna share my screen, and this is what I use anytime I'm like, here's all the games coming out in October. I just go to the store.
But this already is on Switch. I thought he was saying games that aren't on Switch that
this
you want
is
to come to Switch.
Coming soon. Oh well, so he said either. Everybody can see it. Don't look at that. Are you most looking forward to or wanting on Switch? So either one.
Oh, okay. So it can be games that are already on there.
Yeah. So far, there are so many games that come to Switch, y'all. It's crazy. Obviously, PJ Masks Heroes of the Night.
Yeah. Just Dance 2022. It almost won an award, dude.
Oh yeah, Guardians of the Galaxy. That's funny. It almost won an award. That's the weirdest thing that existed.
Tetris Effect. Nah, I can't say Tetris Effect. I have that game for the free.
Yeah, that's true.
I don't need it. Never mind. I rescind.
I mean it. I don't know if it's not really small, but
Super Monkey Ball. Yeah.
That one will be.
They showed that trailer for the multiplayer, like the party games and stuff like that, and I care way more about those than I do like the actual game.
Yeah.
So, but like now that I know which ones are in it, I'm down.
Yep. Also, I mean, it's an indie, so technically still third party, but but Eastward, I think looks very cool. I don't know what it is at all, but it looks cool. I don't know. There's a bunch of games. This is the thing. Like at this point, this is what people just don't think about that much. Not everybody, but like a lot of people, myself included at this point, when I was doing the eShop window videos or whatever, right towards the beginning, I would like be very aware of every game that was coming out every week. And it was like, wow, some of these are really cool. And there's games that like, I will just never know at all were on Switch. Like if I didn't look at this list, there's no way that I'd be aware of, I don't know, A Night at the Races. I don't know what that is or any of these, but some of these games for sure are good. And I'm never going to play them or know about them. But if I just did a little bit of research, I'd find probably a whole bunch more games that I'd really enjoy. Like, yeah, some of the games that I've stopped sharing my screen at this point, but a couple of the games that I, really enjoyed from this year, I played Olija. That was an indie. I think that was in an indie direct, so I found out about it from there. But
you didn't mention Mario plus Rabbids. That's a third party game.
That's true. It's not really a smaller third party game, but true. It's pretty tiny.
That's true.
No, I don't know,
true.
man.
I wasn't even thinking about the smaller part.
Yeah, and that's, I mean, that's hard to say. Like again, yeah, does Monkey Ball count as smaller? Probably, but probably not at the same time.
Smaller, isn't that like the game's like
it's $40? So
that's a small game.
Yep.
It's not from a small company,
right?
But it's a small game.
Yeah, I mean, and then I think I would probably end up saying the like indies would be more of the rest of my list, just because like
Sports Story. Hopefully.
Yeah, Skatebird, Sports Story, Silk Song. King of the Hat still hasn't come out. Whenever I look at this list,
Digimon Survive, coming from a little known company called Bandai Namco.
Yeah, exactly. That's funny. Yeah, good question. Which ones are you looking forward to, Jordan? Let us know. And Max said, "You're talking what?" Because I said we were talking about Metroid. So we should get Max back on sometime. Max, you want to come back?
That's up to Max.
It is.
Max knows that that's up to Max, or at least he should.
Part of me was like,
he can't not know because he's done it so many times. He does it more than anybody, where it's like, yo, I'm coming on the podcast, period. And we're like, all right.
I almost after this was like, hey, you want to come on? And then I was like, I'm really tired. I don't feel like getting things together. So if it happens, then legit, it'll be very fun to talk to him. But I didn't feel like orchestrating anything. So Max, we'll see when we see you. The door's always open.
Yeah, dude, that's up to you, man.
Yeah, there you go. Falcon said Parker mentioned that it may be time to update NSO with a new console. I'm under the impression.
Talk about Digimon Survive. Cool, yo. Alex, I will 100% make you a speaker right now just to talk about Digimon Survive. Let me know. I'll do it. I'm hovering.
I'm down.
Why not?
Well, in the meantime, while we wait for an answer back on that, Yes, Falcon said, Parker mentioned that it may be time to update NSO with a new console. I'm under the impression that Nintendo would do the Nintendo thing, make the new console the TurboGrafx 16 or something like that. Everyone is hyping up N64 and GameCube games. Meanwhile, Nintendo puts out Game & Watch.
True.
Hopefully we get something, even close to as good as the TurboGrafx 16, the best console of all time.
Facts.
Right? Pretty sure.
That's true. I can't think of a single game that's on the TurboGrafx 16.
I can't either. Anytime they put out those that they're doing we're doing this TurboGrafx mini classic console or anything like that.
Commodore 64 classic. Yep.
And I'm like, dude, I've heard of one of these games, and that is it. I think Jazz Jackrabbit was maybe on the Commodore 64 or something like that.
And that was also on PC, wasn't it?
Yeah. Just buy it on Steam, Yeah, Alec is typing something. When we get a release date or it comes out. All right. That's okay. Good.
Yeah.
We'll hold you to that.
I mean, that's another thing for supporters, dude. Yeah. That is the easiest way that you will have a say in the podcast. Because I will 100%. If there's something that we don't know about, and you're a super fan, I'll freaking promote you to a speaker to talk about it while we're recording the show live. That'd be fun. Be safe.
That is all. Chris the Butte said, "Are you going to watch the new Candyman? The first one scared the crap out of me as a kid, so much so that I never watched it again to this day. But I'm going to face my fear and watch the new one, though."
I just learned that this was a thing yesterday, I think. I didn't even watch the trailer. I wasn't scared of the original. It was just a thing. I'm like, okay, whatever. But I'm too cynical to be scared of movies, I think, especially now.
Yeah. Alex said, "Don't say it 4 more times, Parker." I honestly don't know anything, I think, about this. So
about the thing that you're not allowed to say anymore?
Yeah, apparently.
I mean, it's like a freaking, what is Bloody Mary? That's what it is. It's Bloody Mary
film. Okay, yeah.
I think it's like a Bloody Mary situation.
Seems. I mean, if I'm not allowed to say it 4 more times,
is that I don't know. I don't know if that's the thing that you got to say it in the mirror.
I think so. Yeah, in the mirror, in the dark 3 times, whatever. Yeah. That checks out.
It's like that sort of situation.
Yeah, I didn't know about it. I don't watch that many.
Or Beetlejuice. How come that's a premise so much? These people don't like that you saying their names at all.
I think honestly,
or they like it a lot when you say their name because they get to appear. I don't know.
Yeah, I remember being the time somebody told me about that as an 11-year-old about Bloody Mary, that I was real freaked out for pretty much. It was at a sleepover and I was scared the rest of the sleepover. I was like, I'm not going to go into the bathroom ever. So I'm peeing on bed.
It's some form of survival of the fittest or something that it just wasn't a possibility for me to be scared of stuff like that. Because if I was scared of stuff like that, who would help my sister? How would she go to the bathroom if I wasn't there to be like, all right, we gotta go. I'll walk you to the bathroom.
There is truth to that for sure. Just the whole very unrelated to even that, but when I was 13, I got stuck in an elevator with me, a 13-year-old girl, and 2 little kids that we were babysitting during this event thing. It was their parents were doing something and we were like, oh, we'll keep your kids, and we were just hanging out. And it was I think a 1-year-old-ish boy and a 3-ish-year-old girl, or something, or 2 and 4, whatever, I don't know. And yeah, went to the elevator. It was not even a tall, it was literally 2-story building. It was just between the top and bottom floor for, wheelchair accessibility and all that. And it got stuck. And we ended up being stuck in there for an hour and a half and couldn't get anybody's attention for the first 20 minutes or so. And it turned out the 2-year-old boy or 1-year-old boy or however old he was would get heat strokes if he got too hot, and it was pretty hot. So we had to crack the door open a little bit and pass through these squished up water bottles with water and just pour it over him and stuff. So it was this big thing. Again, it was an hour and a half in there. But the fact that we had the 2 kids meant that we weren't scared at all. We were just trying to make sure that they were having a good time. They're oh, everything's good. Don't even be worried. But I don't know, being trapped in an elevator otherwise, it's kind of scary for an hour and a half because you don't know what's going to happen. So if they weren't there, it definitely would have been scarier. But because they were, it was just you can't be scared. You just got to do it.
It's true.
But I'm the youngest of the family, so whereas you have that built in, I didn't.
No, but that's the thing. I'm the second youngest. I have a younger brother. My older sister is scared. Like she's the one that was scared, and I was not. But again, that's because I'm cynical and was pretty much always cynical. So it's like, it's clearly fake. Like that's an actor with makeup on. Like I don't care about that.
That's not the real Beetlejuice.
Exactly. Like that's freaking not actually Beetlejuice, dude. I've said Beetlejuice so many times and I've never seen Beetlejuice appear. Well, what?
You're not saying it with heart. That's the problem.
He knows I don't believe.
That's
so
the way it goes.
It's like, I'm not going to show up. He doesn't believe in me. I can't be real if he
doesn't appear on his Rolodex. He's like, hey, come on. Like,
it's like, yeah. No, he gets the notification. He's like, he doesn't even think I'm real. Why would I go there?
So yeah, good stuff. Discord. Questions from Discord. Here we go. I hope I didn't miss any from any of the other places. I think I got everything. Duncan said, happy Friday, y'all. Hello, Duncan.
Yeah. Hello.
Hope you guys are doing amazing. Revolving hearts. It was an emoji, but I read the name out loud. If you could pick one video game franchise to get a branded food, think Mountain Dew Game Fuel and Halo 3 from back in the day, what would it be? I'd pick Monkey Ball and Terry's Chocolate Oranges to make Terry's Chocolate Monkey Balls.
Oh, no.
Terry's Chocolate Oranges are good, not going to lie. So I'm with you there.
I don't, the grimacing has me dead. I don't know about like a pun as far as that, but they got to do Pokemon jelly donuts, dude. They have to. They can't not do Pokemon jelly donuts.
Yeah. But would they actually be little rice cakes, like, or whatever it actually
I mean,
is?
either they're onigiri or they're shaped like onigiri and they're jelly donuts.
Yep.
They could go in either direction, or they can like freaking like it can be like influencer like TikTok recipe, like a combination of the two. Like what if onigiri was a jelly donut and it was like a good like as close as you can get to like fusing the two and it being good, like like, that sort of situation. Like
yep. I think my vote would be for dubious food in Breath of the Wild.
Oh, no.
Just that I feel like I've maybe told the story before, but just in case.
They could do like it had to be like a Bean Boozled sort of thing where it's not like, but the thing is like not Bean Boozled, where it's like there's like both good and bad, but like you buy it and it can either be good or bad, like you're playing Bean Boozled when you buy the product.
So there's no coming back from it, like whereas with Bean Boozled, okay, but at least I got a
it's like either for sure, like at least for sure half of these are going to be good, but you only half of them are going to be good if you buy all of them.
Here's my trick, by the way, for Bean Boozled, which I hate so much, and I know other people that think it's the funniest thing ever and really fun, and I hate it so much.
I thought only 8-year-olds think it's funny.
I know 30-year-olds.
That's great. I didn't.
So there you go. But here's the trick. Eat a flavor that you don't like the base flavor regardless. So like licorice, for example, I think it's like licorice or skunk flavored or something along those lines.
Yeah.
And I don't like licorice one bit.
Either way, that's bad. Yeah.
Either way, it's bad. So it makes it way better. So like, I'm not, don't have to.
So you didn't get Bean Boozled.
Yeah, exactly.
Either way, you were expecting it to be bad, and it was
either
bad.
Way it's bad. I'm bracing myself.
For disappointment. You're bracing yourself for disappointment, and it's 1000% going to be a disappointment. So you can't be disappointed because you were already guaranteed to get what you expected. I respect
it's the 1000 IQ play.
Yeah, it is.
I don't know what number IQ we're going for these days with the plays.
It's like making sure, like, you ever have I know that this happens to people for sure, but I don't know if it's ever happened to you where like they go to like they have like Sprite. Yeah. And they drink it and it's water and it's like it's nasty, but it's not nasty. It's water, but you thought it was Sprite, so it's nasty. Yeah. It's like that sort of situation.
I've had the opposite where I think it's water and then I accidentally grabbed Ashley's sweet tea or something like that. And suddenly that's like the spiciest sweet tea. And you've ever had, because it's just like flavor at all just feels like a shock to the system when you're expecting water.
Yeah.
No, I totally know that.
Yeah. It's like that, but you're guaranteeing that doesn't happen.
Yeah, right.
Because it's like you're picking it up, like it's like you like it is water and you know it's water, but you're expecting it to not be water. So you're fine. You know, like
there you go. You got it. So dubious food, you know.
Yep.
Yeah. It'll be fun. Question from Alec is baking. Alec asked us, if you could make it so one Pokemon or evolutionary line never existed, who would it be? I would throw Jinx in the garbage, he says.
I mean, I agree with Jinx. But for the sake of the question, honestly, Jigglypuff. Because if Jigglypuff never existed, I wouldn't have to deal with Jigglypuff in the games that they exist in. Like, I hate Jigglypuff in every Smash Brothers game.
Yeah.
And I also hate Jigglypuff in Pokemon Unite. But it's mostly because, like, the Jigglypuffs that I encounter are stupid. So, like, I'm freaking Greninja, who can, like, in the end game, like, win the game if I, like, I mean, you don't know. But, like, if you jungle and stuff,
yeah,
for people that are MOBA nerds with Greninja, in the long term, I can win. Like, I can carry. But freaking Jigglypuff is over here in the jungle because it wants to be Wigglytuff sooner. And I'm like, yo, you don't matter as much as I do. So get out of here and freaking go in the top or bottom lane. You know, like,
yeah,
I hate that. I hate Jigglypuff. Take Jigglypuff and Igglybuff and Wigglytuff out of the video game, just so I don't have to deal with them in other video games.
In the anime, do they just replace the character with somebody else with a marker?
Yeah, somebody else that can use Sing.
Yeah, checks out. I mean, or even some different kind of ability that's supposed to do well, I mean, they have to be asleep.
I mean, it could be a freaking
thing, so.
They could replace Jigglypuff with Haunter and it wouldn't make a difference.
Yeah, right.
They have the same like mischievous nature. They could put you to sleep with hypnosis, you know.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, I'd be way more down for a Haunter just following you around places anyway, and like, you know, he phases through walls and the Sharpie doesn't for whatever reason, and like he's got to go pick it back up. Shenanigans ensue. Man, I don't know. I want to say, I mean, this isn't as like fun of one, but I remember playing Sword and Shield and Phalanx, that one. I think it's cool, but at the same time, I kind of hate it, and I don't know why, but I kind of do. So for some reason, that's the one that comes to mind. But that's not as fun of an answer as
it's not even an evolutionary line. You're just getting rid of one Pokemon.
I mean, it said one Pokemon or evolutionary.
You could have got rid of 3 Pokemon and you're only getting rid of 1.
Lazy.
That's a waste.
Yeah. Probably Charmander. You know,
that's crazy. You know what? I was gonna joke about you saying that, but you did it.
Well, I was mostly thinking, what Pokemon has more evolutionary, more than just 3? Because then you've got, you know, X and Y's. And
Charizard Charmander probably has the most, like, of any Pokemon.
Yeah,
because
besides Eevee and that conundrum. But
yeah. Because
for sure.
Maybe even more than Eevee, if not the same amount. Because there's Charmander, Charmeleon, Charizard. There's Charizard X. There's Charizard Y. There's Gigantamax Charizard.
And
so yeah, no.
Dynamax is Dynamax and Gigantamax 2 different things within?
Yeah, no, I don't think I count that Dynamax.
Okay,
Charizard
because one's just bigger, and the other one's a different form.
It just barely is edged out by Eevee, which is kind of nasty. But I'm down with it because I like Charizard. Like,
yep. I mean, just wait for one more gen. We'll get.
Yeah, they'll get there eventually.
Yeah, I can't think of any off the top of my head that are better than that. So that's what I'm going with for now. Jinx is a good one. Yeah. Mega
Jinx
Man
is like probably the objective answer.
Yes, 100%. Mega Man said, if you guys could be any game character but live in our current world, you can still have their powers, etc. Who would you be and why? Hope I'm not too late. LOL. You are. We're not going to ask it. Go home.
Live in our current world. Wait, okay, so yeah, I do.
Basically,
I definitely
like,
have their. I have their powers. Like, I definitely have their powers.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah. Oh, okay. Here's the other thing, though, is like, is your life just 100% different because you're them in our world? Or is it just that like you just have the powers? I'm still Parker pretty much.
Yeah, it's still you,
but I've got the powers.
Like you just now get the powers. Like you're getting the powers now. You weren't born as this person.
Yeah.
But like,
because otherwise I'd have to think about like, I don't know what
like how would that
Ash's life would be.
Yeah, exactly. But that's the thing. He doesn't have powers. That's what I was going to say.
That was just
like,
the first one that came to mind.
I could say Pokemon trainer, but Pokemon trainer doesn't have powers. He just tells the Pokemon what to do. You know?
Yeah. I mean, you can tell people what to do, though. You know, you could try.
I could tell people what to do now.
What?
I can currently tell people what to do. I do it all the time.
You tell people to buy No More Heroes 3. That's probably your favorite thing to tell people to do.
That's my favorite thing to do.
Honestly, why can't I think of any characters from games that have powers? Like, I mean, Link does for sure. But a lot of them are like tools and stuff as well. You know, like in some of the games he has powers, but more often than not, it's just like he's a good fighter and he's got tools that do cool things. What games do I play?
What games do I?
I'm glad this is the last question because this is a bunch of dead air. I'm just logging onto my Switch and
Golden Sun Parker.
That's the one. 100%.
What power would I don't?
What do you mean? What powers? A ton
what
of
power would you? What power is in Golden Sun that it is not just arbitrary RPG power? Is my question.
I mean, they've got a bunch of like synergy and stuff that's like, you know, growth and heal and like various. I mean,
those are normal RPG powers that are just recontextualized gameplay wise, which has no difference. And like you having that power in the real world.
Growth, for example, can
is
like
in other RPGs, is what I'm saying.
Yeah. So what? I picked the Golden Sun version.
The Golden Sun flavor of that.
So, but no, I don't know a ton of other RPGs that specifically have this one. I mean, several of them, but like because there's puzzle mechanics in Golden Sun, whereas a lot of other ones don't. There's more like overworld things where it's not just like I'm just making this enemy cold, but it's like I'm freezing a puddle to turn it into a tall ice pillar and stuff, which again is
but that's what I'm saying. Like recontextualizing Golden Sun's abilities into our world just makes it the generic version of the power, because the thing that makes it different is how it's contextualized in the Golden Sun world. But it's still like ice magic, fire magic.
You can read minds in the game, and you can see mirages and stuff, but we're not talking. Who cares about the other games? As long as there's one game that has all this stuff. That's Golden Sun has a good repertoire.
That's true.
I'm going with that.
That's true. I don't care, man. Freaking Link and Breath of the Wild.
Got it. Yep. Who kind of has none. He's got a bunch of tools.
Wild sequel, dude. Look at it.
That's true.
He's freaking.
He can do thingies.
He phases through walls and crap. I was about to curse.
Right at the end, we would have done nothing about it at this point. Although arguably easier to find.
That's true. Is at the end.
So. Yes, thank you, Alec. You got it.
It's true. I don't know. Are we doing the?
I didn't watch this week's episode.
Okay.
I think we're overall. I still have mixed feelings about what if in general. How would you rate this week's episode as compared to the other ones? Therefore, is it worth trying to watch as soon as possible or not?
No. Okay. I think that this. It's kind of a spoiler, but it's not a spoiler, so I don't know if I want to say what I'm going to say. But it's in the category of the first episode, I would say.
Yeah, right. Where it's just kind of recontextualizing some.
Yeah, and it doesn't really change anything, but the fact that it doesn't change anything is the fault of how far the episode goes, not so much that the thing that is supposed to happen happens, you know?
Yeah,
because it's like, what if this happened? And it doesn't answer the what if, it just shows you the what if happening. You know?
Yeah. Alex said difficult to have consistency in an anthology show. 100%. It's just like, you know, people can kind of make up their own minds. And
I think that they just go out. I don't think they're going far enough out of their way to like have a consistent
big enough ripple effects, maybe.
Yeah, like to make that the theme of like, okay, let's just pick what ifs that change things in a like in a real way, you know, which this what if could change things. But the problem is that they didn't make the what if the theme. They like they actually like they didn't make the if the theme. They made the what the theme, and I think that that's a bad way to go.
Yeah, I see what you're saying
about it.
I mean, I thinking ahead about like the the zombie one. That's one that we know is going to be a thing, is like Zombie Avengers or whatever. Like that feels like a different enough thing where it's like, yep, Avengers have definitely never been zombies before, unless we see it just like right when they become zombies.
Yeah, exactly.
And then
if the
like
episode is
after,
about like this is what if every Avenger got bitten by a zombie and they showed how they got bitten by the zombie. That's not what if they were zombies, you know. That's like they're zombies, you know, like we don't know what if because you didn't show us them as zombies. You showed us them becoming zombies, and that it's less what if they became zombies and more if more what if zombies were in the world, you know, like that's the actual what if that ends up being like this episode was.
So I mean, I'll watch it, but it's not my favorite of the things, but
so far IMO, there's one good what if episode. This one, and that's kind of sad because I was excited about this show.
And I was excited about talking today, and then we did it, and it worked out. It panned out exactly as anticipated.
It's true.
We told people to be more open-minded about what games they play. Some people were probably mad about that. I don't know.
How dare we tell them to try new things, you know? How dare we?
I mean, as long as we don't tell them to try Candyman, you know, I'm just getting in
or Candyman or
four
Candyman,
or just three more by the end of the episode. But
and try that Candyman or that Candyman.
And then we're just like, somebody just stops the episode ahead of time, like, oh, didn't happen. You'll never know. Everywhere in the world, someone's saying it 5 times.
Somebody, I mean, somebody's doing it, dude. Somebody just says that. There's at least one person that just says that. You know, that's how many people
right now when the movie is happening as we speak.
Like the movie got announced and they made a challenge to themselves where it's like, I'm literally just going to say Candyman between now and then. You know,
it's true.
There it is. Like, comment, subscribe. Tell a friend to tell a friend to tell a friend to tell Candyman. Goodbye.
Bye.